This is the 6th anniversary of the SML podcast. So close to the 7-year itch, I can already smell the infidelity. According to the Chicago Public Library's modern list of anniversary themes, the 6th anniversary theme is wood. Wood. Happy fucking anniversary. Thanks for sticking around. I'm gonna go scratch an itch now. It's in my nether regions. That's a nice way of saying ass.
What's up, everyone? This is the SML podcast. I am your host, Joe. Joining as usual, Cole. Cole, how are you doing?
I'm cold, like the rest of the fucking country.
You're cold?
Yeah, no, that's bad. Don't do that. Get out of here. Your name is not K4. You may not pun us to death quite so poorly. Like, at least if you're going to pun, you got to do a good pun. That wasn't it.
Oh, I know it was an awful one. I'm doing that because Carnage is in chat, but
yeah,
this is a special occasion.
It is.
It is. This is our 6th anniversary episode. We are turning 6, and we can't do it alone. We need to have some company. Do we get to have
champagne and stuff, though? Like, can we have party poppers or
BYOC? Bring your own champagne.
Oh, well, I got Dr. Pepper.
That works too. I have Surge.
Chris, do you have any champagne for us?
No. I am the last person that you should ever ask for anything like that.
Yeah, I don't.
As I cough to death over here.
Seems like a good idea. This show's gonna drive me to it.
It should. How did it not already drive you to drink?
It's a good question. I think it's because of the opioids.
Could be.
But yes, Kris Huber, you're here. Happy anniversary.
Oh, you remembered.
I'm the only one who remembered. Cole thought it was next month.
I thought it was next month. I swear I remember last year I was like, I couldn't record on the anniversary date because it was my anniversary with my husband. But I think that might have been something else.
That might have been something else. Because the official anniversary date is February 3rd, and this episode is releasing on the 2nd. So, close enough.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Also, my birthday's coming up. That's special. What'd you guys get me? Fuck.
Disappointment.
Oh, it's my favorite. I love it.
I got it in pink.
Yay. I like yellow.
Okay, then make believe it's yellow. Yellow disappointment.
Mine's in brown.
Worst neutral color ever.
Yep.
Brown.
It's not even fun to
I was literally trying to think of the most unappealing color, and I'm like, I think brown.
I can think of one more color I would have liked less than brown.
Hope.
I hate green.
Really? Just like plain ass green?
Split pea
plain
green.
Ass green. Green is awful. Green. Every shade of green is goddamn awful.
Baby shit green.
Ugh. I don't know what it is because green is actually the most popular favorite color in the world. And I hate green. I can't do green. I don't like green. If it's green, I'm done. Give it a green hue, I'm done. And it's weird because yeller is my favorite color, and yeller is half of green.
Yeller.
See, I caved on it earlier, and I made myself not say it, and then I got to talking and said it casually, and then you fucking caught me on it anyway.
Yeller.
I mean, you said it twice. You were going to get caught.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping I was just going to,
if you slipped one by, I probably would have been like, yeah, all right, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
But you say it twice, so you're just begging to be called out.
It's yeller.
Yelling.
And you can fight me on it.
Carnage has a good question, though. How can you hate green but be an Xbox fan?
I like the system, but I hate all their marketing shit.
I'm fine with it. I'll allow it.
You know, the funny thing is that I don't like PlayStation's marketing shit either because I don't like blue either.
You heathen.
I don't hate blue with quite the ferociousness that I hate green, but I don't like it. I don't like any kind of cool colors. I like...
You know, I can relate.
Yeah.
I'm literally... everything I own is grayscale.
Yeah, well, I like warm colors like reds and oranges and yellers and...
So, there's yeller again.
I like blacks and gray and dark grays and darker blacks.
I do like gray. Gray is my favorite neutral, and I've painted the rooms in the house like 7 million different shades of grays, and my husband's about to kill me over it. He's so tired of gray.
Damn.
Yeah.
I love gray. I can't help it.
Is Limbo your favorite game?
No, but I did enjoy it thoroughly.
For the color palette alone.
I did. I was like, wow, what an art direction. This is cool.
This tickles my little dark soul.
It's true.
I like that picture of the guy from Limbo with the spider there, and he's holding a flashlight, pointing it at the spider, and everything that's lit up is like happy colors and pastels, and the spider's wearing a bow.
That's amazing. That's the kind of shit that I would do.
Oh, man. So, Kris, it's been a while since you've been on the show. What have you been up to?
Learning an entire band's worth of material so I could play for them.
Didn't you leave a band so you didn't have to do that?
Yeah, and then I had these things called bills. And I was like, yeah, as much as I really hate doing this, I have bills. So, I mean, I'm not taking on nearly as much like gigs with them. Like, they don't play as often as I would have had to with vendors and stuff. But so that's kind of why I took it on. It's at least like I can get some side money by playing with them, but I don't have to sell my soul to make it happen. And I could still work around some other things in between. So, and what did I do in between that? Started another cover band so that I could make more money on the side.
So you're in 2 bands?
I mean, if you don't count me going out and doing the solo gigs as 3, then yes, 2.
Oh, God.
The gig economy is a cruel mistress, and you cannot stop.
It's true. Because once you stop, then you can't pay your bills, and then you go, I guess I'm back to gigging.
Yep.
And this is the reason Kris and I never play anything now.
Absolutely true.
Kris hasn't even played Rocket League with me in forever. I think it's been like 7 or 8 months. No,
but once they actually have like the full-blown cross-compatibility like party support, which is like right around the corner, then I'll be able to you'll be able to see all my cool items from the PC stuff, and I won't have to look like a peasant. If I'm gonna play rocket-powered battle cards, I want them to look cool.
Mine looks like a unicorn. It's fabulous.
Mine is gaudy.
I mean, you could do that too. It is an option. The
WWE wheels, and I have a Mr. Meeseek sitting on top of it with what the hell do I have as my jet stream? I think it's popcorn now.
That's a good one. I enjoy that one. It's all about the sound effect that goes with it.
I haven't found one of the sound effects that I really like other than... I used the Takumi.
Taco Boost.
Yeah. And I just haven't found any of them other than the generic default Takumi sound that doesn't sound like a pissed off bumblebee in a jar to me. So I'm not sure. It's got to be something sparkly and magical sounding, because the pink and purple car with a purple unicorn horn that shoots rainbow boost. So it can't be anything lackluster. No,
it's important to get that part right. Very important to get that part right. aesthetics are everything in games.
Really true.
I'm all about aesthetics. No, I mean, I guess you're segueing into asking like what we're all playing. Maybe is that what you're doing?
Sure, why not?
I mean, like I've been messing around with that. I did reinstall.
Oh wait! Raider Biz just dropped bits, and I have a special occasion for this.
Uh-oh.
Dropping bits!
I don't have to stream up what happened.
No one else heard it except the stream.
I didn't.
I had the volume too low.
Nord finally recorded a drop-in bits clip for me.
Oh, nice.
Raider Biz dropped 200, so do it again.
200?
Do it again.
Let's do one of the long ones. Here we go.
Dropping bits! Ah! All over your fucking face! Ah! Wet pancakes!
That's incredible.
Yeah, you two don't get to hear it when I do it unless you're watching the stream as well, but trust me, it's fantastic.
Scott turns the volume down on even when I got it full blast, so I could hear a little bit of it, but oh my gosh.
Yes, we finally have voice clips. I made the decision that I'm not going to make an actual sound effect for when people donate. I'm going to do them manually, just in case we have like a sensitive discussion going on. Like imagine if it was the Able Gamers episode and someone sent bits and that went off. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
But now when people drop bits and we acknowledge them, I have voice clips for them.
That's incredible.
Dropping bits. Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you, Raider Biz, for dropping bits. I had a chance to show that off. And thank you for the anniversary wishes. But yeah, Chris, what were you saying? What were you playing?
I started playing Sea of Thieves again a little bit.
That's been blowing up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, the community's really been like getting kind of crazy recently, which is surprising. I mean, it's like the big... I guess like what I noticed, what's been making it big is that Summit's been streaming it, and when he is doing it, he's just like trolling the shit out of people, like really trolling the shit out of them. But like some people, they're up in arms about it because they think that he's being like slightly toxic. I feel like, I mean, it's a pirate game, so I mean, like, they're like, a lot of people were mad that he was like going onto people's ships and like stealing their stuff. It's like, guys,
that's half the game.
It's a mechanic. Yeah. Like, it's part of the game. Like,
that's a whole big part of it, is taking out other people. It used to be that they only had it so that every ship you encountered were people, because that's exclusively what they wanted you to do.
Right.
So
yeah, like I'm not quite sure I understood like the outrage that certain people were having about it. Like,
how dare you plunder in this pirate game?
Yeah, well, I mean, because
so I guess what only want PvE.
Yeah, I think what like the primary thing that that started all of it was that the developers were going to have like some sort of stream that they were going to group up with Summit. And because he was doing a bunch of this stuff, there was a bunch of guys that were just butthurt that were like, no, you can't invite him onto the stream and like make this something that is praised by the community because what we think he's doing is wrong and blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude, like, he's playing the game. Like, what do you, I don't know. I think I understand like speaking up in moments of outrage, but like that was completely just stupid. There was no merit like based on like any of the argument that people were having about it. Like I did not understand it one bit. But he's been blowing up doing it, like, and I mean, Joe, we played a decent amount of it when it first came out, and like there wasn't a ton of content, but like for what the game is, I don't feel like there's a lot of other games on the market that like truly capture the experiences that you have in that game, because you can get a lot of different things. Like we were kind of using it as almost like an interactive chat room. Like we're just in there like fucking around while also digging up chests. It's
we're getting blown up.
Right, like it's like depending on like how the game ends up going, you could have a really relaxing, like almost zen-like experience, just like sailing around and like digging up some treasure and selling it, and that's it. You might. I played. Was it like 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago? I played completely by myself, and I went and did a pirate fort solo.
Damn.
And
Wow.
and like it took me. Oh my god! It probably took me like an hour and a half to do because I was by myself.
Why didn't you message me?
It was like super late. I kind of just got into it while I was listening to a podcast just to like wind down for the night. And like as soon as I spawned in, I didn't have any quests, and I look over and it was literally like one island over from where I had spawned was a fort. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just head over there, and this shouldn't take that long. And like an hour and a half, 2 hours later, I was just like, I had already gotten so far into it that I'm like, I guess I just gotta fucking finish it. So it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was cool. It took a lot longer than I had anticipated, but yeah, even just like getting in and doing that, and like there was another time, maybe like last week, I hopped in just for like maybe 30 minutes, and I just started sailing around, and I encountered a couple of people, like took some shots on them, killed them a couple of times, like slowed down their progress and like annoyed them for a bit, and then hopped off. And it was just like even just for that, it was just like, man, that was enjoyable. Like I don't know, it was just like I don't want to say like
being
going
a
into
dick.
like, well, yeah, like, I don't know, like, because again, like it's part of the game. I mean, it's almost like you take it upon yourself to be an extra challenge for other players. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it's like I'm not going in with the sole purpose of trying to actually make progress in the game. I'm just going to go in and almost be like an NPC to other people and just be like, oh man, this fucking guy, like. Like it really is. You can get like so many different experiences out of that game completely based on what your attitude is going into it. And I think that's what I appreciate about it so much. Does it lack a decent amount of content? Yeah, kind of. I mean, like
I mean, there's a lot more content now than there was when it launched, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it as in depth and is there as much content as I would have assumed there would be by this point? Maybe not. But I think what's there is good. So, I don't know. I can't say that I have, like, too many bad things to say about it. So,
yeah, it's still a fun game. We played it, 2-3 weeks ago? We teamed up and played?
Yeah, we did, I think. Yeah, it was, like, maybe, like, 3 or 4. So,
yeah,
it was, like, right after the
I kept getting
holidays,
blown up by skeletons carrying the explosive barrels.
I hate those.
Yeah, I hate them, too.
I think the last time I played was maybe 2 months ago. I was playing with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Jez, and I hopped into their game.
Look at you name dropping people.
No, I don't mean it like that. But I was playing with them in the morning, and as soon as we hopped into the game and we were sailing around, we got attacked by a kraken, a skeleton ship, a megalodon, and a storm all at the same time.
Oh my god.
And just like literally everything that can go wrong to you in that game was happening at that very moment. And that was the most stressful I have been in a game in a long ass time. That was not what you expect when you get on Sea of Thieves. Because when I play Sea of Thieves, I usually play it with Suda. And I'm like, we're gonna, get on with the little sloops. We're gonna dick around, look for some chests, goof off, try to solve some puzzles, run like hell from every other boat we see, and just take it easy. And all that shit hit, and there was no taking it easy in that moment.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's easy to take it easy when you're running into a kraken, a megalodon, skeleton ship, and a storm.
Yeah, I honestly, I do feel like some of the updates that they made to the game recently is like there's a little too much PvE. As much as I love PvE stuff, if you're in the middle of trying to make it from one point to another and you're getting like essentially 3 raids dropped on you at the same time, like that's a bit excessive.
Yeah.
If it could go wrong, it did. And of course we sank. So
hooray!
Imagine that.
So it was a happy ending for all.
Yeah, it went about as well as could be expected.
But yeah, so I've been playing a little bit of Sea of Thieves. I've been playing Rocket League. I started the new season of Diablo, only like hopped in for like.
Oh, I thought you quit Diablo.
I hopped in for like 4 or 5 days, realized that like nothing fucking changed, and then stopped playing it again.
Dude, Diablo's been the same for how long?
Well, so the one thing that they changed for this season was that everybody automatically has a Ring of Royal Grandeur like equipped. Like you have that power like without taking up a character slot. So you could kind of mess with the gearing a little bit more. So I had like a hybrid of 2 different sets together with some extra, like 1 extra legendary slot. It really wasn't enough to keep me interested. So like I grinded the night of the season starting, got up to like max level, and then started doing some rifts, and then I was just like, yep, this is exactly as I remember. Nothing's changed. I think I'm good. Like, and just kind of stopped from there. I did try. I started playing a little bit more MTG Arena because I miss it, but I also don't want to spend the money on it. So it's been fun to like hopping in there and just doing the free to play stuff and just getting some gold to use that to buy some packs. I played Ticket to Ride last night for the first time because I remembered back at MagFest when you guys were playing it in that in the board game room.
Yeah, for like all of 10 minutes we had.
Yep. And then I played 1 round of it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I get it." And then I immediately closed it out, and I started playing For Honor.
Speaking of For Honor, this is a good segue into some of the news of the week.
Sure. Let's get started with some of that. I guess you said that you got a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah,
cool. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really been keeping up on a ton of it, so I'm excited to talk about some stuff.
Well, we'll kick things off with PlayStation Plus for February has been announced, and PS4, one of the games is For Honor. Yeah,
they did that. Well, they did it as a Xbox game with gold like a couple months ago, right?
Yeah, and now it's going to be free on PlayStation Plus, as well as Hitman First Season.
I tell you what, again, going back to like games that like I think have been doing really well over the lifespan that they've had. For Honor, I could not be prouder of that game. Like, I still go back to it and I'm like, this is just for what it is and just the mechanics in it and just how they support it. I don't like how they do their microtransactions, like just their microtransaction structure, but overall, just like the gameplay and what they're constantly adding in and what they're expanding on, and just like, I think they're doing a really, really good job with that game. I think it had a rough start, obviously, but I think with what it is now, it's a really, really good, hopefully, franchise. I think it's one of the most refreshing fighting games that I've played in a long time.
I wish I could get into it. I know I tried playing it with you the one night, and I was getting my ass handed to me.
It is one of those things where it's like it's easy to jump into and not realize like the
complexity of it.
Yeah, of the combat system. But once you understand the core of it, it's actually a pretty straightforward fighting game, comparatively speaking. Like, I always really loved fighting games, but I was never that guy that got so deep into the like, oh, well, if I do a forward light kick, I'll get 2 extra frames on the animation and it'll be quicker than somebody doing this type of thing. Like, I was never super analytical to that type of point. Mm-hmm. But with For Honor, it has that type of system in place that you're constantly thinking of, like counterattacks and positioning and stuff like that, without having to know every minor detail of like, oh, well, if they throw out a left heavy, then I could sidestep on frame 4 to like, like, fuck that. Like, it is a straight up combat simulator. I feel like it's closer to a combat simulator than it is a fighting game, but it shares a lot of tropes with fighting games. Like, you could think of it more like literally as if you were standing in front of somebody and they're swinging an axe at you from that side and go, oh, well, I could back over to this side and try and dodge it, or I could kind of like parry it or attack into it with an attack that might be slightly quicker, so I'd get there before they would.
Yeah.
Like just little stuff like that. And each character has a unique enough style to them that no character feels like just like a carbon copy of another. And the move sets, while some characters have a pretty expansive move set, I think overall compared to other games, it's a pretty comprehensive and small enough move set that you don't feel like you have to sit and like study a character to really get to know him. Like last night, I actually just played one of the characters for the first time ever, and I like understood his entire move set in probably about 5 minutes.
Damn, that's not bad.
It really, really is like a really satisfying game. If you're into fighting games, if you're not that into fighting games, even just for the visuals, I think it's a beautiful game.
It's a gorgeous game.
I think it runs kind of meh on console. However, I know, Joe, you've got an X, so I'm sure it's not that big of an issue on that. But
yeah.
On a standard console, there's some times where it chugs a little bit with the frame rate.
Yeah, I could see that. There's a lot of shit going on in that game.
Yeah, but oh man, if you have it on PC, whoa, that's probably one of the most beautiful games that I have on my PC. If I ever have somebody that comes over that's just like, I don't get it about PC gaming, like, let me see it. I'll boot up For Honor. That'll be the first thing that I put up.
There you go.
But
yeah, PlayStation Plus.
I mean, I don't have a PlayStation, so I'm not too interested.
I thought you did.
You think I was able to keep that? You think that didn't go before the Switch did?
True. True.
So yeah, I'm down to my Xbox and my PC, which my Xbox it's probably gonna have to go at some point soon too.
No, that's the only thing we have to play together on.
Well, I mean, there's still stuff that's cross-compatible between Xbox and PC, so.
Rocket League. Lots and lots of Rocket League.
Rocket League, Forza, Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, but not enough. There's no Rock Band on PC with crossplay.
Which, you'll be happy to know, I was actually going to surprise you with this as I was on the podcast. And while I was at the grocery store, I bought AA batteries so I could now use my guitar. I can play Rock Band with you again.
Yay! We have plans for later tonight then.
So,
anyway,
maybe over the weekend. I have some other to hop into tonight, but
should we go on with the rest of the PlayStation Plus lineup?
Yeah, because I probably won't comment on much of it.
Like I said, for PS4, it is For Honor and then Hitman's first season, which I think that was another one that was Games with Gold, wasn't it?
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure we had that Games with Gold as well.
I'm not
sure.
The Vita has Gunhouse and Rogue Aces, both of which are also on PS4, so there's some more games for PS4. And then PS3, for the final month of PS3 and Vita, is getting Dive Kick, which is also on Vita, and Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots.
I mean, Metal Gear Solid 4 is probably the one that makes the most sense. It's cool. It's a good game to get for free.
Yeah, it's a hell of a way to...
It's kind of like I don't know.
Dive Kick's okay.
Right. It's okay. Like
but they're wrapping things up with Metal Gear Solid 4. I think that's a pretty good way to end their PS3 games.
Sure, but could you imagine if they dropped something crazy like fucking Spyro?
Which Spyro? The remake? That's not on PS3 though.
Uh,
Are something like, I don't know, Nathan Drake collection, or I don't know,
there was a PS3 era Spyro though.
Yeah, but it wasn't the remake. It was
no. But...
I'm thinking something that would be indicative of a PlayStation, a series that's synonymous with PlayStation, along with Metal Gear.
Yeah, but Metal Gear Solid 4, I think that's a pretty big one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Not to be outdone, Games with Gold for February were also announced. Xbox One through the entire month of February is getting Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. And then from February 16th through March 15th, Super Bomberman R, which I think is pretty cool.
I can't wait to get that, actually.
I'm not familiar with it.
It's Bomberman.
Well, I know, but I mean, I don't remember Bomberman. I'm not familiar with how it plays or anything.
There's a grid, and you walk around and drop bombs.
Recognize the character, and that's it, kind of thing. Yeah. Remember, I'm old and heavily medicated, so.
Yeah, but Bomberman's been around forever.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know. I didn't mean it as in I'm old. I wouldn't have played it. I mean it as in I'm old and I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
I love Bomberman. So that's I don't know how many different versions of Bomberman I've owned over the course of however many years I've been playing games,
Hundreds.
but I know I have a lot. So I'll take another.
Yeah. Especially a full $40 game on Bomberman R. That's pretty good.
I think that's the whole reason why I didn't get that one yet, is because I'm like, $4 for Bomberman. No, I'm good.
It's good. It's good stuff. So it's cool that it's going to be free for everyone. I'm sure that'll bump the player base too.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, that's one of the most beautiful things about, like, it's funny when people will take into consideration, like, oh, if somebody gives their game away with Games with Gold, it's got to be a terrible business decision. It's like, dude, you're literally injecting heroin into the player base of your game.
Yeah.
Like straight up. Like, it's just, there's no other way to, like, boost a player base of a game than to just give it away for free. And at least it's only momentarily. So at least, like, you can get a bunch of people in the game. Then, yeah, same thing with Game Pass, Carnage. Like, it's one of those things that it invigorates a community in the game that will make other people consider purchasing it when it's not free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great thing. Even Game Pass, like, Game Pass is one of the only gaming related things that I try to keep up on now. Like, I let my games with gold, like my Xbox Live Gold lapse, but I still keep my Game Pass up now.
Well, how else are you going to play Forza?
Exactly. Forza and CFD. Like, CFD is like, I know I could go out and buy Sea of Thieves for $60, but I'd rather spend the $10 monthly and get all these other games that, like, if I've got a night that I'm bored out of my fucking mind, and I'm just like, oh, you know what? I just need something different to play. Like, I never touched this. Let me install it and then play it for like 10 minutes and never touch it again. Like, sure. Like, that's infinitely more entertaining to me than going out and spending a hell of a lot more money on a game that I may not enjoy.
True.
At least it gives you options, and then, like, and again, you could end up finding the next game that you absolutely love, and then they decide, oh, well, we're going to take it out of Game Pass. Well, all right, I guess I'm going to buy it now. Like,
good thing I have a discount.
Right. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's a great, like, Game Pass really is the future of game consumption in my eyes. Yeah,
I agree. Maybe not every game, but a good chunk of them.
If it's in there, it's stupid not to do it. Like, like, the fact that I was able to play Sea of Thieves day one for $10 is just absurd to me. Like,
yeah, and look, in 2 weeks we're going to be playing Crackdown. I'm
going to tell you right now, Crackdown wouldn't even be on my radar if it wasn't for Game Pass.
Yeah, same.
I would not give a fuck about that game.
I'm excited for Crackdown. I really enjoyed both of the first games. I know people shit on Crackdown 2 a lot. I still enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to Crackdown 3. I can't wait for it.
See, I never played the earlier ones, so I don't have that same nostalgia factor. So, but again, it's one of those things where I'm sure there's a lot of other people that wouldn't even think about giving that game a shot. But because it's a first-party title from Microsoft and it's going to be in Game Pass, I'm sure people are going to be like, oh, well, it's got to be good because Microsoft's making it.
You've never played the first Crackdown?
No.
Did you get it when they gave it away for free?
No.
Oh my god.
I did, and I still haven't played it.
God damn it, Chris.
It's a free demo!
It's free! You'd be so proud, Chris. Last episode was a Crunchcast.
Good, as it should be.
Yeah. It was even called Return of Crunchcast. Even if it's only
momentarily, even if it's only for about, like, 15 seconds, it has to happen at least once per episode. In my opinion.
Maybe not per episode. That's a lot of episodes.
No, definitely per episode.
Yeah, it's been a long time since it happened before then. Well, crunch something, Chris. Come on.
I'll get there.
Anyway, Xbox 360 games for Games with Gold. The 1st through the 15th, Assassin's Creed Rogue, which that's pretty cool.
I'm excited for this. This is Assassin's Creed Rogue is the only old school... No, I can actually say it like this now. That is the only Assassin's Creed that I don't currently have.
Well, chop chop. It's up for free right now.
Yeah, I have every intention of downloading it later tonight.
I can't wait until I can actually justify buying Odyssey. I'm like, I really want to play that game.
It was on sale for $30, and my daughter gets an allowance. Usually she uses it to subscribe to Tokyo Treat Box, where they send you, snacks from Japan every month.
Mm-hmm.
And this month I was like, look, you have a choice. You can have Assassin's Creed Odyssey, or you can have your Tokyo Treat Box. And she was like, can I start my Tokyo Treat Box again next month? And I was like, yeah. Okay, then this month I want Odyssey. So she got Origins for Christmas, and we downloaded Odyssey yesterday.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey right now on Amazon is $28.
I'm waiting until it hits PC.
I just got it digitally.
Yeah, I'm waiting for like a Steam sale or like some sort of like retailer where I can get a Steam code,
Is it on Steam?
Code. Yeah,
because I thought it was just on Uplay.
I have For Honor through Steam as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, the only reason why I do that is so that when the Steam sales happen, I could get discounts on them.
Yeah, well, there's some more news on Steam in just a second, but the other game, February 16th through the 28th, is the OG Xbox game, Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. Wanted to get that out before we forgot.
Was that the Kinect thing?
No.
No, because it was for the original Xbox.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Duh. Sorry.
Which seems to be a few people, Carnage, who are not impressed with the original Xbox games being part of Games with Gold because they don't have achievements.
I want my achievements. That was Carnage, by the way.
All I want is Amped to become backwards compatible.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. That was the first, that was my jump into Xbox. It was the first Xbox game that I ever owned with Amped. And I was like, wait a minute. I could take my CDs and save them onto the system and play them as the background music in the game. My mind was blown. And the first CD that I ripped.
That.
I know, right? What was the first CD that you ripped, Joe?
I don't remember at all.
I remember the first one.
Which one?
I know the first one and the second one. The second one's kind of meh. The first one's great. First one was Dirt from Alice in Chains.
Nice.
Second one, this one's kind of embarrassing. Union Underground.
Ain't nothing wrong with Union Underground, man.
Yeah. But I remember it specifically. And then what was it? Soil? That was another one. They were the guys that did what was it? Halo, I think was their single, their breakout hit.
Oh God.
Yeah. I was young and impressionable.
It's okay. We understand.
But it was good, man. It was such a good it was such a good change of pace from a lot of other extreme sports games that I had been playing up until that point. I was so over Tony Hawk at that point already, and that was well before Skate even was a thing in the ethos. And I really enjoyed Amp just because it was trying to stay truer to the actual sport, and I always enjoyed watching a lot of those games when I was watching a lot of those sports when I was younger. So yeah, it was good. I even I couldn't get into the whole SSX tricky thing because when those types of games go over the top, it just really loses me.
Do it again.
Guess what? Swizzlers drop biddies.
Drop it, bitch!
Wait, are you playing the sound?
I just did it.
Wait, do it again. I'm putting the sound back on.
Oh, dropping bits!
I have 4 of them to play too.
Oh no, Carnage dropped
Do another one.
bitties.
Carnage dropped 5 biddies? Thanks, Carnage.
Dropping bits all over your pathetic face.
Hey, Swizzlers just dropped another 100 biddies.
Dropping bits.
That's so good.
Oh my lord. I love Norg so much.
He's great.
By the way, a shout out to Norg for doing another fun intro for our 6th anniversary episode, and thanks to Viking Guitar for our brand new theme song.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
That's
it is awesome. It's a pretty cool song.
So what you said there was something in the news about Steam?
Yeah, I want your thoughts on all of this. Only 2.5 weeks before release, Deep Silver has announced that Metro Exodus will be launching as an Epic Store exclusive on PC, and it won't hit Steam until a year later. Any Steam pre-orders will be honored, but it is no longer available to buy on there. And then it also came out that all physical versions of the game will be shipping with an Epic Store key instead of a Steam key, which has a lot of people pissed off.
Pissed?
Yes.
Why?
Furious.
Why pissed? I'm just curious as the basis of the argument.
Because
like,
they pre-ordered expecting a Steam key.
Okay, that's great and all, but like, you're still getting the game.
But a lot of people don't want to use the Epic Store. They're like, we have enough launchers. I don't want to use another one. And I don't want to be forced into using one when, for how long, the game has been advertised as a Steam title.
Hold on, let me stop you right there. So, the whole argument of the, I don't want to be forced to download another... Okay, so, don't buy the game.
What about the people who pre-ordered it because it was a Steam game?
What's the basis? I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand the, like, what? So they're not going to get trading cards? Is that what they're missing out on by not having it on Steam?
I don't PC game.
Well, right. That's what I mean. Like,
I wonder if it's more of a case of it's not consistent with their library. So, like, I hate how many damn launcher apps I have.
I'm literally looking at 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 different launchers on my desktop as I speak.
Yeah, see, I
hate it.
I get
that's
anxiety about that shit.
Right, and I hate it, but I don't have to play those games. And I think from a logistics standpoint, Epic is paying out developers more than Steam. So from a business standpoint for any of the developers, sure, absolutely, I would take it over to there. Because, I mean, especially with how finicky game development as a whole can be, where, like, your margin of error, if you miss your mark of estimated sales by just, like, 1,000, that could put your company under.
To be fair, though, Discord is giving
Discord is doing distribution for games, too.
And giving larger commissions than even Epic is.
And I think there was one thing in particular. It's funny. I as you had mentioned it, I did read about this. I think there was actually a quote, and I don't know if you could find this. I didn't try to look it up, but I want to get the thought out before I forget. I believe somebody from Steam was quoted in saying that it was unfair or something along the lines of that. Like, they used some sort of terminology along the lines of that, and I immediately just went, "Fuck you," because Steam has had a monopoly on distribution for PC games for so long. And I think it's the primary reason why they haven't been developing games themselves is because they're making money hand over fist by just distribution. Mm-hmm. Why would they even bother taking a risk on making a game? And we've talked about this before between Left 4 Dead 3 or Portal 3 or Half-Life 3 or any of their fucking games. They don't have to make one because they don't need the risk. But now that Epic is actually giving them a run for their money, I'm totally happy with it overall in the long term as a PC gamer, because now this forces Valve to be like, oh shit, maybe we should make some more games again. Like, maybe they should actually focus on being a development entity in the gaming industry instead of just distribution.
Yeah, that would be nice, but that doesn't take away from the fact that there's people who pre-ordered a physical version of Metro Exodus expecting a Steam key, and now they are not getting Steam. It's been advertised for months, if not over a year, as being a Steam game. And now 2 weeks before it comes out, they changed everything.
But again, who's to say that, like, I know that a lot of consumers like to cry like injustice when it comes to certain purchases that they say, like, all right, I was expecting to get this, I didn't get it. Like, to a certain degree, I agree. But if it's something like this where it's like the only genuine difference between what you're receiving from the company and what they had told you would receive is just by going through another distribution service, I don't see the argument. You know what I mean?
I see it as someone paid $90 to get a Steam game, and now they're not getting a Steam game. That's bait and switch. That's just straight up bait and switch 2 weeks before the game launches. There's no other way to put it. That is bait and switch.
I mean, there could be a lot of different reasons why somebody prefers Steam over Epic or vice versa.
I mean,
I think distribution on PC is a completely different territory, because even looking at like what Fortnite did, like what they started doing with their Epic launcher, and they started doing with avoiding the Google Play Store, like when it comes to their Android version, like everybody was up in arms of the fact that, what do you mean they're not going to go through the Play Store? Nobody's going to download it. Like, nobody's going to even know that it exists. Why would they, like, take out all of the free advertising that they're going to get people to, like, click on it from a recommended app in the App Store and blah, 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 blah. It's just like, again, from a business standpoint of, hey, we have overhead that we have to hit and pay our employees and whatnot. Like, if we can get a deal and know that we can make a little bit more from distribution when it has nothing to do with the actual product of the game, like once you enter into the game, like, you're still going to play the exact same game. You're still going to, like, I understand, like, all right, yeah, maybe they're not going to get Steam cards, or they're not going to be able to redeem it and gift it to someone to add onto a list or what have you. Yes, the logistics of that can be a little bit more of a nightmare, but again, it's not like you can't send the person the code or whatnot. Like, I don't feel like there's enough that they're missing out on to genuinely cause an uproar.
The point is, they paid for a Steam key and they're getting an Epic Games key. They're not getting what they paid for. That's all there is to it. And the fact that they're doing it 2 weeks before the game comes out, I think, is a shitty move to do. If they were going to make this decision with Epic Games, then do it in December when the game went gold. Do it much earlier.
Who's to say that Valve didn't pull some shady shit 3 weeks before distribution and they go, oh, by the way, you know how we said that we were going to give you a 70%? Well, now it's only going to be 60 or 50 or fucking whatever.
Well, then they could come out and announce that, hey, this is the reason why we're doing it, but
no, they can't, because it would, that in and of itself would be a PR nightmare. And now nobody would be talking about the game. Everybody would just be talking about, like, oh, well, they just caused it up because of blah, 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 blah. Like,
3 weeks before the game came out, Valve changed the terms of our contract. That's what they could say.
But again, you don't know the clauses of the contract. It could be something of like, you can have there's such thing as a defamation clause. Like, even if the terms of the contract go or fall through, that you can't speak about any of the specifics of the contract outside of it. I mean, I couldn't, technically I had to sign that when I was with the vendors. So I mean, it's one of those things that, like, you don't know on the business back end. Like, they're obviously not new to the video game landscape.
Okay, put it this way. What if you ordered a game, or what if I ordered a game on bestbuy.com expecting it to ship to my house, and then the day that it comes out, they're like, no, it's at the store. You got to go pick it up instead. That's a shitty thing to do.
No, I don't get that analogy at all. Because
then what if you order it through Best Buy and then you're told you got to go pick it up at GameStop instead?
No.
It's a different merchandiser.
I think the analogy that would be closer to what is actually happening would be, you're ordering it through Amazon. It's supposed to come in a cardboard box, but instead of the cardboard box, they give you a plastic box.
Not at all. That is nowhere even close to what they're doing with this.
That would be problematic too, though, if you're one of those people who does low waste.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, again, it's just by distribution.
You said it's a different distribution outlet. It's a different distribution outlet. So that would be if I were to buy it at Amazon and then be told I have to go to GameStop to pick it up. That's a different distribution outlet.
But you're still receiving the same product.
But some people have, like, objections to using certain types of, like, maybe I don't want to buy games on the Epic Game Store because I don't want to support, the developers of Fortnite. I don't like Fortnite. I've got some kind of beef against Fortnite. And maybe I just don't want money going to that developer. Maybe they have some kind of practice.
I think if you're that up in arms with a distribution resource, then you could just boycott the game altogether and ask for a refund, which
that's
I'm
what
sure
a lot of people are doing.
Well, yeah.
Right, which I'm sure. And again, yes, it's like some people could be pissed about that, but again, it's, if you're that up in arms and you're that adamant on not having it, then I'm sure they'll refund you.
I personally don't have an issue with the fact that they went to Epic Store instead of Steam. My issue is that they did it 2 weeks before the game came out.
Yeah.
After advertising it on Steam for a year.
What I was going to say before is it's not to say that there can't not be a good reason for it, especially 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because Deep Silver gets more money.
Money.
Listen, it's still a business. At the end of the day, they still have employees to pay.
Okay, so, and at the end of the day, they're still fucking over customers who paid for a Steam key.
As much as I have Steam and all of my games are through Steam and I hate that there's multiple launchers, I don't see why this is that big of an issue. I really don't. I genuinely don't. You're still getting a game. You're still
more
playing,
power to you.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because do I understand the outrage of like the Fallout 76 like canvas bags? Fuck yeah, I do. But
then how don't you see the issue with this?
Because it is a different product. They said that they were going to give a certain type of bag, and they gave a different type of bag.
Yes, they said they would get a Steam key for the game, but they're getting an Epic Store key for the game. That is a different product.
Playing the same game. I'm saying it would be different. It would be different if it's like, hey, we were going to do a Steam exclusive where you get a remastered version of a previous game, but now, no, you have to get it through the Epic Store, and now you don't get that extra game with it. You're still playing the same game.
But it's not through the channel that you were expecting and what you bought it based on.
Yeah,
there's people who bought the physical collector edition of the game. They spent a lot of money for this physical edition of the game, and they're not getting what they paid for. That's all there is to it. They're paying for something and they're not getting what they paid for. That's all there is to it. Boil it down to the barest essentials. You are paying for something and you are not getting what you paid for. And the fact that they did it 2 weeks before release is a shitty move. That's all that there is to it.
The timing of it is certainly far worse than a lot of the other aspects.
If they announced it months ago, there wouldn't be as big of a shitstorm around it. But the fact that they waited 2 weeks before the game came out, when God knows these contracts had to be in place a lot earlier than 2 weeks before the game releases, that's just a shitty move to do. Because
the Division 2 has said that it is being exclusively released through Epic Games and not on Steam.
Yep.
So it's not a problem with. I have my own problems with exclusivity as far as that goes, but it's not so much the problem of, oh hey, we're gonna be somewhere else now, as the timing. Like Division said it a while ago, like right after the Epic Game Store was announced. It was maybe 3 or 4 days later where the Division was like, buy us here.
I'm not saying that like I'm jumping for joy on their decision to change. I'm just saying that there are way more pertinent issues. I think that
could be said for everything in the world.
Sure.
But this is still an issue that people have a problem with.
I think even just like in gaming in general, like I think like just, this is just an overarching thing, and it has nothing like, while it has some to do with this game, I think it has a lot to do with more games in general. Like you said, Division 2 going over to it, they're not the only company doing this.
It's not what they did, it's how they did it.
How. Yeah, it's not the what, it's the how. And we saw this happen before too. Was it Ashen that was supposed to have been on Windows 10?
Yeah, it was supposed to be a Play Anywhere game.
Anywhere.
And when the game launched,
came in and swooped it up literally days before it launched, and it didn't launch on Windows 10, and it wasn't Play Anywhere, and people had paid for it expecting it to be that experience.
Yeah,
like that I agree that is misleading.
It's shitty.
Right.
It's shitty. It's all shitty.
Well, no, but I think it's misleading of what is being delivered and what you're going to be able to do with the product. You know what I mean? Like you said, with like with Play Anywhere and stuff like that. Like, yes, I think that is enough of an issue to warrant an uproar. But again, when there's no fundamental there's no fundamental difference of the product that you're receiving. While yes, you are receiving it through a different means, overall the experience of the game remains the same.
Okay, what if you ordered
a purchase behavior by distributors that we want to encourage? Because it does encourage them to be underhanded about scooping up these exclusivity deals at the last minute. And then you do have situations like with Ashen where it does affect more than just, oh, hey, you got a single player game. You have a multiplayer game that loses features and functionality.
Again, I think it's an overarching thing of voting with your wallets. If that's a practice that you genuinely don't care about, then you'll still buy the game. If it's something that upsets you and is something that is a bigger issue and you think is something that needs to stop, then you don't buy the game and don't support it.
And that's what a lot of people are doing.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what overall, to make these things not become the norm, you have to make sure that they don't thrive because of doing it.
Okay, Kris, let me try putting it this way. Let's say that you ordered a digital deluxe edition of a game, and then when it came out, you were sent a disc.
That is fundamentally different than the product.
It is the same product. It is the same game. It's just different distribution methods.
Way.
No.
Different distribution methods.
If you're getting extra stuff,
you're still getting the deluxe edition of the game. You're just getting it on disc instead. But you didn't want a disc. You wanted a code. Just like people, they don't want an Epic key, they want a Steam key, and that's what they paid for.
But they're both digital keys. So that's why I say, again, there has to be, to me, there's
Chris
gray area. I don't know if it's just because I don't know.
Chris, this is for the physical edition of the game.
No, you just said
is
Steam
it cheaper
key
on
and
Steam?
Yes, but it's in the physical version of the game.
Okay. So you cannot receive a physical disc of it for the Epic Games Store? You're still receiving a physical disc.
This is going nowhere.
No, I really genuinely, again, I'm only thinking sheer distribution, and it's because I'm making more of a closer analogy personally to music distribution, because that's what I know the most. Like, if someone came up to you at a show and said, hey, buy my CD, and then they give you a CD in a paper sleeve instead of a plastic sleeve, I wouldn't care.
Okay, if someone sold me an iTunes card for an album, an iTunes code for an album, and then it came in and it was a Bandcamp code,
you're still receiving a digital copy of the
but it's not what I paid for. But it's not what I paid for. I paid for an iTunes code, not a Bandcamp code.
For me personally, I wouldn't care.
I would, because I paid for an iTunes code. Doc Havoc, in the words of Dan Aykroyd, Chris, you poor, ignorant, misguided slut.
Yeah. I think it's just because I'm thinking sheer, tangible object product. Like, if you're giving me a digital code, whether I have to receive it through another means of accessing it, I signed on to that when I decided I was going to get a digital code instead of a physical copy.
So Swizzlers is saying in chat that if you pre-ordered it on Steam, it was $60. However, if you pre-order now on Epic Games, it's just $50. So there's actually a price discrepancy.
So if that's the case, then they should be compensated for the price discrepancy.
But they won't be.
Then that's the part that's fucked up. Not necessarily the fact that they're going through another distribution. It's because of the value being different. To me.
This is going nowhere.
Speaking of dicks,
the Piranha Plant is now available in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate with the 2.0 update.
Oh,
and I'm upset that I still haven't even seen the new Smash.
I thought you played it at MagFest.
No, I was supposed to, and it just never got to it.
No, well, come down and play it.
If only it was that easy.
I'm a half hour away. It is that easy.
It's not, though, especially when literally as I was driving home from work, I had to physically hold my car door closed as I was driving.
Oh, God.
It was so cold that it wouldn't latch.
Takes me longer to get to Walmart.
It takes me longer to get to Walmart, too. I think it's quicker to go up to Wilkes-Barre than it is to drive to Walmart. How fucked up is that? But Smash Brothers sales, Smash Ultimate sales are now over 12 million units worldwide, and the Switch itself has sold over 32 million units.
Yeah, I can't wait until I can actually like have some money together and justify replacing it, and then I'll get a Diablo version.
You hope so.
I could find one. I
On
have
eBay
resources.
for double the cost.
I have resources.
Oh, what other news is there? 2 games were added to the Xbox backward compatibility lineup this week with Lego Batman 2 and Port Royale 3.
Never played them.
Mm-mm.
Lego Batman 2 is pretty good. Because it's a Lego game, and Lego games are always good.
They're okay.
I didn't say they're great. Just good. Speaking of dicks.
Speaking of dicks.
Tomb Raider Definitive Edition is now on Xbox Game Pass.
Nice.
Ooh, that's a good. That's
Yep.
a really good addition.
And there's supposed
Speaking
to
of
be
games
some...
that are absolutely fucking gorgeous, actually.
Now, this is Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. This isn't Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah, it's not the new one.
Yeah, but isn't that so that's not the first one?
Yeah, it's the first in the new trilogy.
Right. I
Yeah.
thought that was really good. I
Oh, it
thought
was.
that was yeah.
It definitely was. And then, let's see, what other news? Metroid Prime 4 has restarted development from scratch, this time with Retro Studios involved. So there's some bad news for Nintendo gamers, but also some good news knowing that Retro Studios is involved now.
How long had it been in development beforehand? Do you know?
Like
What,
2
like
years, I think.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work, trash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think about how long Diablo 3 was in development and scrapped and canned and what they gave as their final product.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. 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 My soul is still burning. Like, still.
You know what? It would have been okay if they'd sold it on the Epic Game Store.
Yeah, it would have been
Speaking
so much
of
better.
dicks.
Honestly, I actually would have been totally okay if Blizzard was like, you know what? We're going to put it through Steam. I'd be like, all right, fine, sure, whatever. Like, if they would have said Origin, I actually would have been like, all right, this sucks, but sure, whatever. It's your game.
I mentioned PlayStation Plus earlier before. They are also upping their cloud storage for PlayStation Plus members from 10 gig of storage for save files up to 100 gig of space.
Jeebus.
Yeah. So it looks
I
like
didn't
they are
realize
prepping
that there
for
was a
PS5.
limit. I didn't realize there was a limit there.
Yeah,
Is it not
PlayStation.
like on Xbox, it's based on how many games you have?
Yeah, on Xbox, you have unlimited storage
Mm-hmm.
and you have free storage. Everyone gets
Yeah.
the cloud saves. PlayStation, it is part of PlayStation Plus, so you have to be a member to have cloud saves, and it's limited.
Why did
Here's
you
the- here's the-
PlayStation again?
Here's the big key thing. If your PlayStation Plus lapses, do you lose the cloud saves?
I don't know, and I should probably find out because my PlayStation Plus lapsed.
Oh,
Yeah. I gotta resubscribe.
Because that was one thing that I was reading into with the Nintendo one that I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I like that. They keep
does
it,
it do it on Nintendo? Does they go poof?
they do, but at least they give you a time. They give you a buffer. I forget how long.
Didn't they
though.
say 6 months?
Right? But
Something like that.
which I think is reasonable. But as soon as I read that, it made me go, ooh, I'm sure other companies that start doing this in the future might have it lapse like within like 30 days or
Yeah.
Hmm.
like 2 months. Which I know, like, if I lost all of my progress on all of my Switch stuff.
Yeah.
I
Well,
lost, yeah, which sucks, but it is what it is.
yeah.
So that's why I try not to put too much of a emphasis on the cloud saves. It's a great backup if you have the option for it, but to rely on them completely, you're only setting yourself up to have your heart broken.
Oh, PlayStation Plus, your
months,
data will
yeah.
remain for 6 months.
Okay.
Thanks to
So
Ian for that.
I have plenty of time. Thanks, Ian, Doc Havoc, for the info.
Drop it,
We actually, we got to play some Sea of Thieves together again.
All of
And we
us,
don't play-
yeah.
Yeah, we played together.
I played the drop and bit sound just to play it.
Because it's good.
I love Norg. Last bit of news that I have is Quantic Dream, the makers of Heavy Rain in Detroit, have received an investment from NetEase and may be going multi-platform with their future releases.
I think that's the smartest thing they could ever do.
Yeah.
Keep in mind,
you know what? Actually, you know what would be the smartest fucking thing in the world for them to do? Incorporate it into smart TVs.
Oh.
Because let's face it, it's really just like QuickTime events, and you really only need like maybe 4 buttons for it. And you're just making decisions, right? So
there's
like,
actually a couple of movies, games on Netflix like that.
right. So like, why not use that and almost think of like the smart TV as like a Ouya?
Oh, God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fucking
I think
Ouya.
that would like skyrocket them. And even just their availability of like certain markets and like certain like households that you could get into. Like, I know even just from the type of people that are coming down at the shop, like some of the people that come in and buy smart TVs, like they're not gamers, but if you were to put like an app that they could just launch from their TV that puts them into a game, they would probably play it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what do you think of Quantic Dream possibly going multi-platform?
I think it's great. There's very few game development companies that are really trying to push like games as a narrative. I'm not the type of person that really sits and enjoys like watching a TV show or a movie, because I really want to feel like I'm involved with whatever media I'm consuming. That's why I enjoy gaming so much. So those types of games where I can get like a very heavy narrative driven type of experience while still being interactive with it, I love. And there's not too many people really doing that well. So yeah. I'm all on board for them, like kind of spreading their wings a little bit. And yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Just a reminder, NetEase, they're the same company who invested in Bungie recently.
I mean, NetEase is a powerhouse. They have some sort of small defective portion of their company involved with almost every single development company that I know of nowadays. Like they're all over the place. Yeah,
and they're doing a lot of investments. I guess we'll see what happens with this. I'm kind of excited at the prospect of a Quantic Dream game hitting Xbox or Switch, but on the other side, I still think David Cage is a prick.
Yeah.
I mean, again, that's just more of like a personal sentiment. You got to be able to just disassociate the person from the art.
Yeah.
Like, I fucking hate Dave Mustaine as a person, but I dig his music. Like, I don't know. Same thing with there's a lot of musicians that I feel like with that. There's a couple people in the games industry that I kind of feel similarly with as well. So,
yeah. But that's the news I got. Any news on either of your ends?
Double XP weekend for Rocket League starting now.
Oh, snap. Ubisoft might be in a little bit of hot water.
Why? What did they do?
Ubisoft in hot water?
Yeah.
No, Ubisoft doesn't do anything wrong.
Marketing email blast went out for the Division 2 earlier, and the headline, the subject for the email said, "Experience a real government shutdown in the Division 2."
I mean,
and
I'm okay with it. Like,
I laughed. And I was like, that's not going to end well. And sure enough, about 15 minutes before the show started, I got a second email from Ubisoft that was like, "We have made a mistake." And it was like a big apology email about the headline or the subject. So I suspect there are people somewhere with their underwear in a knot over the shutdown joke.
Sometimes life just hands you a baseball and a baseball bat, and you just got to toss that thing up and just go for the shot.
Yeah.
I think that's a good one.
I did. I get it that there's, shit happened and people struggled, but that's every goddamn day. People are struggling every fucking day, whether the government is open or not. So I was a little surprised that the email apology went out quite as quickly as it did. I thought there would be a little more of an uproar over it before it was just like, shit, we fucked. But I also think it was a little odd to hold Ubisoft up to some kind of odd standard as far as that goes, because they're not based in the US. Red Storm is in Europe. I don't even remember where. No, Red Storm might be in North Carolina. I lie. Massive is the one that's in Europe. And like 6 different international companies worked on the Division 2.
That's
you can't
more than
really
I thought there would be.
Yeah, there were 6. And you cannot expect them to like be super sensitive to US, sensitivities, I guess. But I thought it was funny. So
yeah, I don't have a problem with that email header. I think that's funny.
yeah.
I think it was, I'm okay with it.
You use the fucking White House as your base of operations in a Division 2. I mean, it would have.
Nice.
It's suitable. It fits.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I'm really fucking pumped about Division 2. Like, really pumped. I can't wait to play it.
That's the only thing I'm looking for. Well, that's a lie. I'm looking for Devil May Cry 5.
Gaming wise, Division 2 is the only thing that's on like my radar at all.
Really?
I'm a
Yes.
hardcore Devil May Cry fan, so I'm looking forward to 5. But
What else is coming up that's like on your radar, Joe?
Me?
Yes.
Crackdown, Metro, Far Cry New Dawn, Anthem, Devil May Cry, The Division,
Division and Anthem. Division and Anthem are the only ones that I'm like kind of interested in. That's
Mortal
it.
Kombat 11, Rage 2.
yeah,
Okay, Mortal Kombat.
11.
Yes. The
No
new Mortal
Rage
Kombat
2?
as well. Just looks like a prettier Doom. It's whatever.
And then
It's not that I'm not interested in it like at all, that I will probably never get it, but it's not something that I'm like, oh man, I need to get that when it comes out. Like,
I need the collector's edition of that.
Like Division 2, I absolutely want to try and get when it comes out. Mortal Kombat, absolutely want to try and get when it comes out. Anthem, maybe. I don't know yet. I've been looking at a lot of gameplay of like the demo and stuff like that, and I'm not sure I'm completely sold on it. I got really burnt with Destiny, so
yeah.
And it has a very Destiny-esque type of feel. Although I love the level of customization to it, sure, I don't know. Maybe that'll pull me in. Trials is getting talked about a lot in chat, and obviously I do love Trials, but again, it's not one of those ones where I'm like, oh man, it's Trials Day, let me make sure I get home and download it. Like,
I'm a little surprised. I would have thought you were a Trials fan.
I do. I love Trials. I've played them all.
But like a more, I need to do it right now kind of.
No. I mean, I enjoy them, and I do try to get every single one, like, at some point and play through them, but it's definitely not one where I'm, like, calling off a day of work, you know? Division 2? Sure. I would call off a day of work. Mortal Kombat? Sure. I would call off a day of work.
I'm just going to close down my store for the month of March, and that's how you know I'm doing nothing but playing the Division 2.
Yeah.
Well, it's not until mid-March, so you have the first half of March to keep
okay,
working.
I can make art for 2 weeks, and then everything shuts down.
Although the first half of March has Devil May Cry.
My boss could be lurking in chat right now, and he probably still wouldn't care. I'm the one that's running it all the time anyway, so it's whatever.
I am the boss, and I am not. I
haven't seen him. I haven't seen him in weeks, so it's
technically. I think I'm your boss, Eternal. So I'm lurking in chat.
For the sake of this show, but for my art store, it's all of me.
Yeah. I'm my own boss too. But yeah, the biggest thing I'm looking forward to, April 30th, baby, Final Fantasy 12 on Xbox One. I cannot wait. I am so excited for that.
Yeah.
I need a Crystal Chronicles remaster.
I know you two don't care, but I care very much.
Look, talk to me when we got Crystal Chronicles.
Talk to me when Session comes out.
I'll have to.
Oh, is that the skateboarding
simulator?
Yeah.
I did try that. What was that one that came out recently? That Skater XL, super janky. Really, just kind of like proof of concept-esque kind of thing. I do like some of the concepts of what they're doing. Definitely like pre-alpha state right now. Not a lot of content, if
No.
any. Yeah.
I didn't even hear anything about that game.
I mean, I had to look at it because it's a skateboarding simulator that's not skate. It's not anything like Tony Hawk, so...
I'm just waiting for a Skate 4 announcement so you could rejoin the show full time.
Listen, here's what'll happen, right? If Skate 4 ever exists, I would purposefully cut together a small, 5-minute segment just about Skate every week for you to post onto the YouTube channel.
Chris's Corner.
You have my word. If Skate 4 legitimately ever exists, I will give you a little 5-minute whatever. Like, here's some extra content. Here's some patch notes. Here's some fucking whatever. I'll do every week. I'll give it to you every week.
Nice. But I guess that's all the news that we got.
And if they don't severely fuck up Diablo 4, I'll do the same.
That works.
Those are the only things I can genuinely contribute for.
I like how I say that's all the news, like we haven't been going at it for 90 minutes now.
I mean, it's an anniversary episode. An hour and a half is actually kind of...
we still have reviews to go, Chris.
Yeah, but I'm going to play some games. I haven't literally, it's 10:30 and I have not touched a game yet today, other than playing one round of Magic before.
Well, then I guess we should let you get going so you can go play some games and Cole and I could get started on reviews.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a $1 game that just came out? That's $1. K4.
World Enduro Rally.
Fuck's that?
Meh.
Looks like a motorcycle racing game.
Oh.
Side scrolling. Kind of has a Trials look to it.
Trials style.
But is it an easy completion?
Who knows?
Carnage probably knows.
Well, I think it's officially out tomorrow, but it's up on the store now.
Oh, okay.
By Graphic DNA, whoever they are.
They're
I haven't heard of that
people
one.
that made insert game here.
Oh, helpful.
Watch, it's their first game they ever made before.
So glad you were here with that info, Chris. Very helpful.
Yeah, you're welcome. Color commentary. That's what you get.
Oh, man. But yeah, I guess we're going to let you get going, Chris. Thank you so much for being a part of the anniversary episode. You have to come back more frequently than once every 3 months.
I know. I have to just, get some of these other things in order so that I don't have to have all of my spare time going into them. So once I have a little bit of free time and I can actually consistently hop in, I will do so.
You better. I will cut a fool.
I also have to try and contribute a little bit musically for you too. I haven't been doing that for you.
Yeah, you should have been a part of DOD this month.
I know. As the thing came up for this listening party, I was like, God, you fucking. And it was just because I ended up taking that gig with the cover band, just learning all that stuff. It was just it took a good solid 2 weeks out of this month that I wanted to try and put towards doing some other material.
Well, eventually you'll get there.
Eventually. All right. I will see you guys.
All right. Take it easy, Chris.
Bye.
Bye.
Kris Huber has left.
Bye.
Fucking Epic Game Store, I'm telling you. Now that he's not here, I could get my point across without... Am I wrong on that in thinking it's a shitty thing?
No, you're right. There's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want to support a different company and have your... Because if you purchase it physically and you get a code to a company other than one you think you're going to get it to, there could be a ton of reasons why you didn't want to support or why you don't want to use their launcher or whatever. You would be horribly disappointed if you were expecting to get Steam.
Oh no, Doc Havoc, what exactly happened? I came in at the end of that. Uh-oh.
It's going to be slamming away at chat here.
We'll just reiterate briefly that Deep Silver, 2 weeks before Metro Exodus released, announced that they're going to be releasing it as an Epic Store exclusive including people who pre-ordered the physical edition expecting a Steam key are now getting an Epic Store key instead, and that has a lot of people upset. So that's the Cliff Notes version of what we just went through. And then Kris had no problem with it. But we have reviews we got to take care of. We got a bunch to talk about. We should probably get started on those, huh?
Let's roll.
All right. First game to talk about tonight is called Animal Super Squad, developed by DoubleMoose Games, published by Digerati, released February 1st on Xbox One for $9.99. Animal Super Squad is a physics-based adventure game that lets you play as your favorite animal. Speed through a world full of dangers and bananas. Create your own level, share them with the community, or forget all that nonsense and just play other people's stuff. Cole, tell us about it.
So this is basically like Trials, but with a chicken and a toilet as your character instead of a bike. It is an absolutely ridiculous physics-based. I don't know whether to call it a side scroller or a platformer. It's just it's like Trials. I'm not sure what the proper genre term for that is. It does have a single player campaign that you can play through. And if you do that, you're going to be able to unlock all kinds of different collectibles. You can unlock different hats, you can unlock different pilots, you can unlock different types of vehicles. The different vehicles do have different abilities. So you want to take care when you're choosing which one you're going to use, because some levels are designed with certain types of what happened?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was drinking.
Okay over there?
Yeah, I was drinking, and I don't think the mic picked it up for the show, but you heard it.
Yeah.
A little squeak from
I thought something was wrong. My bad. There we go. That's what I heard.
There we go. So everyone gets to enjoy that.
Yay. So, you do want to take care when you're choosing your vehicle because it can affect how you move through the level. The game is just absolutely ridiculous. I know I keep saying it, but I cannot get it out enough that you're just going to laugh while you're playing this. There isn't any time on the level, so you could just take your time to go through and explore and like bounce your chicken around and try to find secrets and get collectibles. You do have health, and you will start off the game with your chicken or your sloth. There's different pilots. There's a couple other ones you can choose as well. You will start with your pilot in the vehicle, and as you take damage while you're trying to jump over the spikes or avoid flaming traps and mines, you will lose tires. You will lose your toilet on wheels or whatever other cart you are riding in. Then you'll just be left with trying to roll your pilot around. And then if you're using the chicken, for example, like if you hit fire, then you have a roasted chicken that you're trying to roll. Eventually it got to a point I was so bad off at one level that I was going through it as popcorn chicken. It was a little red tub with the little popcorn chicken balls inside of it. It was incredible that it's so over the top silly. I love though that none of it's timed. So if you keep fucking up, if it takes you a while to get through things, you can just keep trying. You can do it at your own pace.
That's
you
good.
can design your own levels. There is a lot of potential for fuckery with these levels. You can have barrels that shoot you. You can have, like I said, the flaming traps or the mines. You can just have insanely weird drops. You can even have decoy ends where like you make it to the end and you think you've completed the level and then something just gives away.
Oh man, that's amazing.
And you have to keep going. You're not done quite yet. It's just really creative. It's a lot of fun. The art style is fun. The physics are so super impressive. Like you really don't look at this game and think, this is a physics powerhouse for a game, but the way that it moves and the way your vehicle and your pilots, they react to the environment, it's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And just really fucking silly. It is technically kind of an easy completion. You can do it in a couple of hours. Like I said, it's not timed, and there's not any kind of difficulty beyond just trying to find secrets and collectibles in the levels. That's your biggest struggle. There are bonus levels that you will unlock, and those are pretty fucking hard. But once, if you wait until you've kind of got the hang of the physics and you've got some of the better vehicles and with different physics that are more effective, then you can knock them out a little more quickly than if you're just like trying to go at it all with just the toilet.
Yeah.
Because definitely some of them are better suited for some of the bonus levels than others. But it's just a lot of fun. I know I was getting so frustrated, and even with being frustrated because I was dying a lot, I was still just laughing at it. Like, it was just me and the kids were playing, and we were just cracking up. It's perfectly suitable to sit around, pass the controller around, play it with the kids, and just laugh and enjoy the silliness of it all.
Well, then $10 on this one. What do you think of it?
It's an easy buy it. I definitely recommend this one. It's a lot of fun.
Cool.
Next!
Next game to talk about is called Heroes Trials, developed by Shinyuden, published by Ratalaika Games, released January 22nd on PS4, 23rd on Xbox One, 25th on the Switch for $5.99. After the banishing of the previous defender of your island, the community needs new heroes. The long training of siblings Ilya and Zol takes them to the last trials, deciding who is best fit to become the new local guardians. In the finals, they will have to compete against a sleazy couple and the clock to prove their worth. Rising to the top will not be an easy feat. Cole, tell us about it.
Okay, so this is from Ratalaika Games, and while the summary sounds incredibly epic, the game itself not quite as hardcore. That's not a negative. It's easy to play. It's not overwhelming with monsters. It is a top-down adventure, kind of like old school Zeldas. You even go so far as to break pots and bushes and stuff and look for coins. It's not pixelated. It's got more of a 3D art style, but it is from a top-down perspective. I
like to call it Zelda with a timer.
There you go. It is true. It's a good way to describe it. You do have a timer for the mission levels because you mentioned the timer. But if you don't complete it within the time, you just start back at a checkpoint. It's not really the end of the world. I didn't even run. I got really damn close on one mission. I hit 1 second left.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't ever actually run out of time without purposely trying. But it's an easy to play. You control both characters, Zol and Ilya, but you hot swap between them by pressing Y. Zol has a sword and bombs, and Ilya has magic spells, which makes her a little better for long range. But the bombs you have to find eventually while playing, and Ilya's magic spells you have to also, find. They're not just instantly there. They're both warriors, like you mentioned. They're seeking to become the defenders of their homeland. But another competitor has cast a sleeping spell on them, which causes them to oversleep, and they're gonna miss their finals if they don't get there in time. Hence why the missions are timed. Although each mission is timed, you get more time. The time starts over with the next one. So if you do cut it super close, like when I got 1 second left as I stepped on the path, then the next time you just start off, you have 10 minutes again, and you're fine. So it's not something that you have to be overwhelmingly paranoid about. If you're struggling or you're not sure how to approach an area, just press pause and think about it for a second before you go running through. The most difficult thing is some of the bosses. ideally with the bosses, you want to stay as far as fuck away from them as possible, which makes Elia vital. But her movement and her aiming isn't tight enough to justify her being so vital, if that makes sense. It's almost like even though she'll move within the whole, realm of what the analog stick will go, that when she shoots, it's almost like she's stuck on the path of the 8 directions like a D-pad would have, if that makes sense. And so it can be a little difficult, especially if the boss or the mini boss is like kind of off screen. Then it's really hard to get that aim down. And since you want to keep your distance from them, that makes it a little worse. and you can end up firing a whole lot of shots that don't hit. Fortunately, there's not any limit to ammo, so you can just spray and pray all day long. but and you can charge up her shots as well, her ability. If you hold the button, then she does like a spin shot and scatters out in all 8 directions. But the interesting thing is that was a horribly underused mechanic, if that makes sense. Like, there's no point where you're just like, I can't do this if I don't charge it. It was just one of those things you did on accident and was like, oh, yeah, right, she can charge her shot. And that's kind of an example of the whole game. Like, you just you can meander through it in under half an hour and get all the achievements and do everything there is to do, and then be like, oh yeah, I completely forgot I was able to change my magic type or charge. A
half hour might be a bit low. I don't know if it would take a half hour to get through the game.
I did it in 34 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, I didn't struggle with it. I think one of the biggest challenges is that there's one puzzle where you have to find the door switches and hit them with a certain type of magic, but it's not even then. It was just like, oh, it's just off to the side. I got it, never mind. That was actually the one mission where I hit 1 second before. It was the same mission, but it was quick. It was easy to play. It's one of those games where it's like, okay, well, it's not gonna shake your world up or anything, but it wasn't bad either.
And it was only $6.
And it's only $6. So it's pretty much fuck it, why not territory.
Well, is that your official verdict then?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna hit it with a fuck it, why not? $6. No, it's not amazing. The story isn't gonna change your life, but it's quick and it's a nice little, it functions for what it is. There's nothing to be mad at about it. And it's enjoyable. You can just sit back, relax, put your feet up, hit some bushes, take out some of the monsters, get a little frustrated at the lack of tight controls for Elia's long distance shots, and otherwise you're happy. Yeah. Get you some gamer score.
Awesome. I enjoyed it as well. I actually bought this before we got our review code in. That's why I offered it up to you. I must be further through it than I expected. I killed that one, the one boss in the field. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing that's near the end. Because if you said you beat the game in 34 minutes, I know I put a decent amount of time into it, so I can't be that far from the end.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably pretty close.
So.
It's a little hard to say when you say the one boss in the field, because all the bosses but like one is in the field.
I forget which one. It was after the door puzzle that you said you beat with a second to spare.
Did you go through have you been in the volcano yet?
No.
Oh, okay. No, then you're not actually all that close. You got a little more to go. Yeah.
No, I guess I got to put some more time into it.
Keep going.
Hey, it was worth the money I paid, so I'm happy with it.
Good. Yeah, I don't think for $6 if you play it, you're going to be overwhelmingly disappointed. You're just going to be like, well, it could have used a little bit of tightening up, but hey, it's a $6 game. Enjoy.
All right, taking a break from Cole for a little bit, getting the hot tag as usual. Tim Ekkebus, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm in. I'm good. It's been a week, as you know.
It's been a week in more than one way.
Yeah, freezing our dicks off up here in Buffalo, New York right now.
Yeah, Polar Vortex is kicking everyone's ass. Wrestling happened this past weekend. You did pretty good on your picks.
I did on account of picking the, I guess, obvious choices for each Royal Rumble. I managed to come out on top there.
You did.
Between the two of us, yeah. NXT picks, not as great.
No, NXT, we picked the same on NXT. We went 3 for 5.
Yep.
And then on Royal Rumble, I went 6 for 9, even though there were 10 matches.
Yeah, and I went 8 for 9. Just missed on Rusev and Knack.
That'll teach you.
I will it though, because then R-Truth won on Tuesday twice. So
yeah, how was that for a fuck up?
Was it though?
It looked like Kyoto fast counted. It looked like he screwed
because
Nakamura kicked out.
Yeah, he did. I think it was meant to be fluky because that's just R-Truth incarnate. Because you figure like they then sent Rusev out there and the same thing happened. So
yeah, and
then they had the whole tag team challenge later on in the show. So like it was all part of the show. Like it was all scripted. So like
maybe they rewrote it on the fly and they're like, oh shit, R-Truth just won. What could we do?
No, I mean, because I think because that pin wasn't that close. Like if Truth wasn't supposed to win, he could have just waved it off and it would have been fine. Like nobody would have been. They would have been like, wow, that was close. But yeah, I saw like the GIF of it like 3 times. I'm just like, what am I looking at? What happened here? And starting the build to ruining the WrestleMania main event by putting Charlotte into it.
Oh God, I don't even want to go there. We're going to be there in a couple of months. We'll be talking about it. We'll be hating ourselves because we'll be like, fucking Charlotte's involved. Of course Charlotte's involved. Why wouldn't Charlotte be involved?
Yeah, we all know it. We're just waiting for it to happen. But in the meantime, video games.
Well, in the meantime, you did good on your pick, so I'm proud of you.
Yeah, yay, finally a good weekend. A weekend I can feel proud of.
Yeah, I messed up on the cruiserweight pick, which I thought Hideo Itami would win it, and instead he's gone from the fucking company.
Turns out you were way off. It's just like, not only is he... Yeah.
I don't know, I was kind of close to my pick, because I said, what else is he doing there?
I guess.
Give him the belt to keep him from leaving, and I was close. They didn't give him the belt, so he left.
Yeah. Probably leaving already. Yeah, man, it's been a week for that. Yeah, Dean's leaving.
Dean Ambrose is letting his contract run up, and then he's done.
They came out and they said Dean Ambrose is leaving after WrestleMania. That's crazy.
There's people wondering if that's legit or not.
Yeah, well...
Because what happened the last time they had someone who was leaving after a pay-per-view?
I guess that's true, yeah. When they announce it this far ahead of time, that makes it a little more... You never know if you're being worked, man.
Very true.
Never know if you're being worked. Maybe it's all a big work.
That's the joys of wrestling.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. It's fun. Part of the fun. You think you know, but you don't.
Always. But yeah, I figured we had to recap our wrestling a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It was just last weekend. Yeah,
we couldn't just let it go. We couldn't leave our picks unanswered and
It was a great event, though. It was like, just the Daniel Bryan AJ Styles match kind of sucked the life out of the room. I mean, it was right after Becky's big win. It had the terrible Eric Rowan ending, so that was not great. But everything else on the card was very entertaining.
Who's this Eric person you speak of?
Yeah, excuse me, Rowan. Could be his first name, could be his last name. We don't know. Yeah, all the other matches were good. I mean, the women's rumble was better than the men's rumble, so maybe that could have been on last and not the men's rumble. It was a long ass show at the same time, but
their shows are getting way too long.
Yeah, well, it's like they have the situation now when they're doing, and everything's a dual brand show now, so it's like you're trying to squeeze every title match onto the show, so there's very little space on the side for like non-title matches, like just regular ass feud culminations,
Yeah.
So it's like even on this show, like the Royal Rumblers are huge, but that was the two you're not filling a card with stuff like Mustafa Ali versus Samoa Joe. That would be an undercard pay-per-view match like 6-7 months ago when they were still completely split. But now it's just like, well, no. So much content. Okay, anyways, video games.
Yeah,
Jeez.
video games. You got 2 of them to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
The first one is called Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy,
Oh,
developed and published by THQ Nordic, released January 29th on the Switch for $29.99. Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy is an original third-person action adventure inspired by the mythology of ancient Egypt, traveling the world via magical portals to foil the evil plans of the Sphinxes of Set. Oh, sorry. Reading is hard for me. Yes. To foil the evil plans of Set, Sphinx's journey will require all his wits, agility, and special powers. Tim, tell us about it.
Tell us about Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. Is Sphinx still relevant in 2019? For those of you that do not know, this game was originally released back in the early aughts, like 2003, on yonder, on the GameCube and PS2 and Xbox One. No, not that Xbox One.
The first Xbox.
Yeah, the OG Xbox, the original Xbox. It was released on there. I actually have an original Xbox copy of Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy that I got on clearance at FYE when those were going out of business. Well, actually, they weren't even going out of business. They were just clearing out old stuff, and I got it for like $1 or $2.
Damn.
Yep. Still in the shrink wrap. But yeah, you know, I had heard good things about the Sphinx. I felt like it had some decently well regarded for a kind of also ran cartoony platformer game of that era. So, you know, imagine it's up against like the Jack and Daxters and Ratchet and Clanks of the world. It's that era, your Sly Cooper business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So anyways, this is a remaster. I believe it came out on PC at least a year or 2 ago. And the graphics do look very sharp and crispy. Like it looks good on a console in 2019. That for sure looks good. But it's purely an asset pass. It's not like a full remake like the most recent Shadow of the Colossus, last year's Shadow of the Colossus, or that Ratchet and Clank that came out a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, you know, better assets, and it looks good. Like the character models, especially, like I think look very good. You know, even if the animations aren't always the best, and some of the environments are a little bit sparse. That's one thing that'll really stand out for you when you look at a game from 15 years ago versus a game now. Is just like how much isn't in an environment in terms of like detail and characters and whatever. Which is not necessarily a bad thing. It is maybe a little bit jarring, but basically the environments kind of only have things in them that you need to move forward, rather than a lot of other stuff that might just be there for set dressing and can be confusing. But yeah, looks good. Character models especially, I think, look very nice. Yeah, otherwise this game still feels very 2003 to me. Like just like the feel of like the combat, the movement, the jumping has a kind of stiffness to it. There isn't like a lock on for combat. Your jump doesn't really go very far for a game where you need to jump between things, and just kind of like your movement. It's just it's tough to describe other than like, man, this game feels like it came out 15 years ago, which it did. And it has like that kind of clunky, dumb camera of the era where it'll get very easily like hung up on walls when you're trying to move it around. You know, I think Super Mario Sunshine was pretty infamous for its camera doing that, whereas cameras nowadays will generally pass through walls. They've generally worked that out, I think, but here they'll kind of get snagged on things and can be a bit of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, 3D platformer cameras have always been bad.
Yeah. It depends on the game, really, and kind of depends on how the environments are designed and what they want you to do. You know, there's always going to be moments, I guess, where you just can't get the right angle. Except I feel like more recent games are fine, like Mario Odyssey. I never had a problem, but that's a game that literally came out, 2 years ago, year and a half ago, not even. I do appreciate how straightforward things are in Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. I should break it down a little more here. So Sphinx, you got Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. You got two characters. That's kind of one of the draws of the game is Sphinx, who does not talk. Seems to be based on the Sphinx. He's Sphinxy looking. But his portions of the game are a bit more... I mean, he has a sword and the mummy doesn't. So you will fight things. You will whack things with a sword. Though I wouldn't call it combat heavy at all. Like there's a sequence early on when you're in like a city that you roll up on and there's not any combat there, just kind of like running around and fetching items and finding items and bringing them to and fro, and not really a lot of combat there. But his stuff tends to be more action oriented, more interacting with characters, whereas the Mummy is in this old forbidden temple, and his sections are meant to be a bit more stealth oriented, though there's still plenty of platforming to go around for his mummified self. It kind of takes a surprising amount of time for the game to get to that point. Like it's actually like at least a couple hours in before you start actually jump. Before the mummy is a mummy, there's some story stuff ahead of that. Yeah. So I do appreciate kind of how straightforward things are, and that it's usually your goals are pretty clear. And that it's like, okay, I am in this room. There's only this many things I can interact with. And it's just a matter of like kind of piecing it together. Like I kind of appreciate that simplicity, and straightforwardness. But sometimes that direction is not always clear. And it's just like, oh, how does this make any sense? Like in that aforementioned city section, the first thing you have a decent sized area, and there's like a museum here and some doors there. And a locked door here, and there's like a guy who was looking for pearls to replace the necklace, like on his wife's necklace. So you have to find those 3 pearls first, and then he gives you a key which you can use to go up the staircase. And the only reason to go up the staircase is because you need to buy a monster to take the museum to donate to the museum. So they'll give you a zip line thing to go around in the city. And then you use that zip line to get over to a boat to go to another area, even though some other people were saying they were going to this other part of town, but that's not where you need to go yet, because you need to go to this other area to do this other thing and then do the mummy bit. And it's just like, well, why am I going to these places? Like, what are you doing, Sphinx? Like, what is motivating you and pushing you along? Like, I know what's going on with it's hard to know exactly what you should be doing. Sometimes like kind of overarching, because there isn't really like that. It's not really pushing you in any particular direction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like immediately it's like, okay, I know I have to do this, but it's like, why am I doing it? What goal exactly am I trying to accomplish? Like it's like I'm flipping switches and I don't know why, but I'm flipping them because I imagine they're important. That kind of thing. I've had that thing in other games too. It's just like, I don't know exactly what I'm doing here, but I know I have to do it. So I'm doing it. But man, the save system in this game.
Is it straight out of 2003?
It is straight out of 2003 because there is straight up just save points, which is fine generally in an RPG when you're not going to die right around every corner. I mean, to be fair, in any Persona game, I just kind of anticipate at some point the dice or roll is not going to go my way and I'm just going to get totally screwed and die. And I accept that, and that's an RPG. But the thing is, in an RPG, usually when you have the save points, you can run out, you can prepare better, I think. Like, it's different in that you're just out there grinding. Like, you're always gaining something, even if you're going back through areas. But in a platformer, when you're hitting save points, like, I can go out away from a save point, but then if I'm just like, oh man, I have to get going, or I need to, or whatever. I mean, on the Switch, you can sleep it, but let's pretend like I don't. Then it's like to actually secure your progress, well, you're just going back to a save point. So are you actually securing any progress at all? I don't know. The bigger problem is if you die, you just straight up go back to the save point. You just go and reload your game. Let me tell you, that's bad. I can't do that shit in 2019, friends. That is an absolute deal breaker for me. There's no checkpoints, only save points. That's it. So it's like the first time when I and I didn't even think about it. Well, I had come up on the save point and I saved and I was like, oh boy, okay. And then I was off like doing gameplay things like exploring an area and platforming and puzzle solving and all this stuff. And in fairness, it's not terribly easy to die in this game. Like, it's pretty generous about, giving you health, and there isn't a ton of combat or things that'll kill you. But when you have a moment, because sometimes just you're jumping or the combat, like none of that stuff feels like spot on. Like sometimes you'll just get hosed and then you die. And then when I had to go back to that save point, I was just like, if I wasn't reviewing this game, I would have been done. DON, done. But that's me, and that's my situation with, my time management with games, which is like the most valuable resource when you have a child. I'm just like, oh, that is so rough. But it also sucks when I'm just like, because then it's in the back of my head whenever I'm playing. It's like, oh my God, like there's all this tension here because if I fuck up, I haven't saved in like 20 minutes. And I'm gonna have to redo all this like this crap again. It's just like, oh my God, and I'm just like, because I got that other review code in the middle of doing this review, and I'm just like, man, I just want to check out that game, but I'm in the middle of like going through this castle trying to find these keys or whatever. And I'm missing one of them, and I've been through every area 8 times now, and I just want to play this other thing, but I don't know where this is, and I need to save before I do the thing, and it was like,
It's our childhood all over again.
Oh my God. I mean, this would have been rough for me to get into. I think back then, I'm like trying to like think like, because around then I was playing like Jack and Daxter, but I don't remember what the save systems were like in those games, whether they auto-saved or what. It's like now auto-saving is so standard, that like it's it always throws me when like fucking Mega Man 11 requires you to manually save after you beat a level.
Damn.
Yeah, I guess who lost progress because they didn't realize that. It's this guy right here. I'm holding up my hand. So that's rough. That is rough right there.
So the save system aside, it sounds like this is overall a fairly solid game as long as you don't mind the tropes from the 2000s, because it's a game from the 2000s.
It is a game from the 2000s. And it's like, yeah, you really have to not mind that stuff. And that's the question, is just like, is it worth playing? Is Sphinx like an essential game you need to go back to in 2019? And like, it just kind of coincidentally, I was playing the aforementioned Ratchet and Clank remake, and I had never played Ratchet and Clank before, and I'm like, man, this game is actually a lot of fun. I never got into a Ratchet and Clank game before, and like this holds up, like the gameplay end of it holds up really well. Because I don't know how they played before, but it seems like if it played poorly in any way, shape, or form, they were able to smooth some things out. And obviously that game looks tremendous because they redid all the art assets. But like playing Sphinx, I'm just like, man, is this a game that people really need to go back to from that era? Like, are they missing out on it? Like, I don't think that like what it brings to the table is something that's necessarily essential to recommend over, 2019 contemporaneous games,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then on the flip side, it is more of a budget price game on the Switch at only $30. So for $30, what is your verdict on Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy?
I am sorry, Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. Unless you are a Cursed Mummy fan, like if you already know, like, oh man, if you are into Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy, if that is your jam, like, I think this game is totally like up your alley. Like, it looks great. Like, this is probably the way you want to play that game going forward. If you've never played Sphinx before and you just kind of heard rumblings about like, oh, that Sphinx game is okay. I think it was okay back then. Now I deny it. I turn it away. Go, no, Sphinx. I'm sorry. It's probably a bit more harsh than the game deserves, but
it sounds a lot harsher than what you're saying. Is it seriously just because of the save system?
The save system, like, I might give it a try it save system aside. I'd be like, okay, it's decent. It's kind of cool. It does some neat things, but like the save system is such a killer for me, man. Like, oh my God. But I just like, aside from that, like I didn't necessarily I wasn't like, oh man, I can't wait to play more Sphinx. I was just kind of like got in there. I'm like, okay, I see why this game was neat. But man, $30, I'm just like, I don't know. It's budget price, air quotes. It was a little bit cheaper
for the
maybe.
Switch. For the Switch, it's budget.
Yes,
because
Switch
there's
tax.
Pretty sure there's a physical version. So.
Oh man, really? Crazy though. I think it's cool that this random ass game got some kind of remaster treatment in 2019, even if it isn't necessarily my cup of tea. Like having this stuff out there for people to get their hands on.
Yeah, I hope it shows up on PS4 and Xbox as well.
Is it I wonder if it's backwards compatible.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Okay, well probably because there's a remaster out,
Hopefully it shows up on more systems.
Yeah.
So, because I don't mind that old style save system. So, yeah. I'm a lot more forgiving than you, I guess.
Oh, wow, is it not the remaster on Steam? Huh. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here. I thought it was the remaster that was on Steam, but it says it was released November 10th, 2003. It's got to be the updated version. Why would this I don't know. It's got very good ratings on Steam, and on Steam it's also only $15. So,
there you go.
Switch version for $30, or if
Steam
you want
for
to roll
15
those
sounds
dice.
good.
Sounds a lot better. Yeah, if you want to roll the dice on Sphinx. I mean, those screenshots look pretty good. All right, moving on.
Moving on, you got one other game to talk about. That is called Unruly Heroes, developed and published by Magic Design Studios. Released January 23rd on Xbox One, Switch, and PC for $19.99. Inspired by the famous Chinese novel Journey to the West, Unruly Heroes tells the adventure of 4 totally opposed, implausible heroes who must collect all the scroll fragments and travel to fantastical worlds to restore balance or die trying. Tim, did you die?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you definitely die quite a bit. And sometimes it's your fault. Sometimes just like, God fucking damn it, game. Not usually a big deal, though, because you do have 4 heroes going into every level, and you can switch between them at will. You have they have names. I don't remember them. One of them's the Monkey King. One is like a old monk who's a big burly brawly dude. There is a big pig man, and there is another monk who is more flimsy and magical. But yeah, you can switch between them every time at any time by tapping the left button. I kind of wish there was actually a way to like rotate through them back and forth. You know what I mean? But you can only rotate through them one way. It's kind of annoying when it's like, I need the guy that's right before this one in the lineup to do something.
So you got to go through all of them to get to that one.
Yeah, it's irritating. Minor gripe there though. But yeah, so if you die, you just take control of another character, and that character that died, like they get a little bubble that floats up on the screen. Like you remember the bubbles in like new Super Mario Brothers, Wii U, like that. Yeah, like they float up, and then you just got to hit them, and then you get them back. Which I imagine is good fun because the game has a 4-player mode, so I imagine it works out nicely for that. Anyways, playing the game by yourself, boy, does this game look nice. Doesn't it look nice? You must have seen a trailer for it. It looks real nice.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah, it was really reminiscent to me of like Rayman Legends. Like it's kind of in that, like when you're talking about 2D composition of animation and art in a game. That is the touchstone that I would bring up, and did bring up. There you go. Just like looks really good. Like the way things animate, like they do not shy away from having very large characters in the background or the foreground. Like the big boss characters, like kind of the big end of world boss characters, are very large and look very good on the screen. Like just really great looking all around. Like just the way the levels look. There's like lots of depth to the background. Like, you know, good character animations, just good designs on like all the enemies and everything. Just like really good art all up and down. Like really impressive. I mean, who is this Magic Design Studios? What do you work on? Huh? What have you done? Who are you? Who do you think you are? They don't have a Wikipedia, so I don't know. This might be their first. Is it their first game? Oh my god!
It could be.
It says game. It looks like it. High quality entertainment content, including console and CG. Oh, they also do CG animation. Okay, well that makes some sense. Yeah, this is their first game by the look of it. Unruly Heroes. Wow, nice. Yeah, looks really good. And it plays well enough, which sounds kind of insulting, but it's like, so neither the combat nor the platforming I thought were like particularly exceptional, but they get the job done. And honestly, like kind of the way the characters jump, and that there's a weight to them, or there's a bit of wind up when you hit jump where there's like a little bit of an animation where they kind of like, you know, crouch their legs and then jump up, you know, so it's not like an instant jump. I was like, man, it feels slow when they jump, and they feel kind of weirdly floaty in the air. And it really bothered me at first, but honestly, like after the first few levels, I really stopped thinking about it. So I'm actually not sure if it's a problem anymore. Like once I was writing down my notes, I'm like, actually, I don't even know if this actually bothers me. Though I will say that like when kind of the design requires a bit more precision in your platforming, like I don't think it quite holds up to that, because it's just there's like one, because it's like you can jump, you can double jump. Well, 2 characters can double jump. 2 characters have like floaty Princess Toadstool jumps. And that's how they kind of, but you also get like an air dash, but you can also wall jump. So it's like sometimes like there was like an instance on a boss where you have to wall jump, and there's these things that are shooting at you, and it's like, okay, I need to like wall jump, get a double jump in there some point, and also like kind of pull myself up on the top of this platform. But like when you hit the wall to post up on the wall, like there's an animation transition there. So again, it just feels a little sluggish. Just like, okay, do I have enough time to like hit this thing out of the air and like land on the wall, or do I land on the wall first, but the animation's taking too long, but then now I turned around and I'm attacking the other way. That instance was kind of bothersome. For the most part, though, it's fine. And it's lenient enough, like I mentioned, with the death system, that it also is just kind of like, whatever. Like, it doesn't get too frustrating. And for most of what they're asking you to do, it's totally fine. And also with the combat, too. Like, sometimes enemies can really get on top of you, and it can get a little frustrating because it just feels like you can't... Like, the animation gets in the way of the gameplay, like, a little tiny bit because there's wind-up to your attacks. But again, it's, like, not that big a deal. And each character... differs enough in the combat, just in how their attacks come out, like kind of their range, that you'll have like a light attack combo, a heavier attack, which also comes out at a greater range. You can knock enemies up in the air. You have different attacks in the air, so you can combo enemies. So yeah, it's good. It's a good variety of the characters. They're not just cookie cutter. You know, the kind of the smaller magic mage character like shoots magic orbs. The older mage is like this big burly like short range brawler that does a lot of damage. You know, the Monkey King has his staff. The pig also has a staff, but is a bit weightier and inflates and rolls around and stuff. Well, each character has a unique kind of super attack that builds up as you combo enemies. So there's a good variety between them. So like you have to switch between them basically because they'll have different abilities, which I'll get into in a second here. But they're different enough that like I didn't have a favorite, and I would switch between them for like different enemy types in different situations, and kind of not really think about it. It wasn't like, okay, well, this character is my main character, and this is the one that I'm going to use all the time, and I'm only going to switch to this other guy when I absolutely need to. It's like, no, I was switching between them all like pretty regularly and smoothly, so that felt good.
Nice.
Like I mentioned, yeah, they each have abilities. There's these statues that'll be around. They eventually introduce that'll be around the levels where, like the Monkey King will make a giant staff, which will come down and make like a platform. You can't attack while said giant staff is out, but it will let you cross gaps. The monk can punch down these big stone walls. The pig inflates and will float up like a balloon. Your magic guy will shoot out this ball that you'll generally need to use to hit switches. So they each have like their own kind of particular use, and sometimes you do have to kind of like you're only controlling one character at a time, so it's not like, okay, this character is going to do this thing, then this character is going to do this thing. Usually it's a case where you're just doing like one at a time, but sometimes you have to do it like one, then the other, then the other, then the other. So you're switching quite a bit in some instances. I'm all over my notes. Seeing there's about 20-some-ish levels to the game, and there is a good variety to what they throw at you in terms of like environmental hazards and just like gimmickry. You know, something I do really appreciate is that pretty much every level has some kind of a climactic encounter, be it a actual boss or just some kind of like an elaborate trap that you need to get through. Mm-hmm. I really appreciate that. That's cool, especially for the number of levels they have, that there is actually like a small boss at the end of almost every one of them. Like, that's cool. That's cool to me. That's old school. I miss that. I like bosses in games. And the bosses look good, but they also like there's one you beat up to get a gourd that will suck in this black mist. So then the next stage you're carrying around this gourd, and you have to suck in the black mist so you can kind of see what's around you in the area and where the platforms and enemies are. They have a mechanic where some levels have you like possessing enemies, which I did not expect. So like, you know, the character you will possess will have different abilities than any of your 4 heroes, and so then that entire stage will be based around like using those abilities, and it's cool, and it keeps things really fresh. And like, it was kind of hard for me to put the game down because I kept wanting to see like what they would do in the next level, which is good.
Mark of a good game when you can't put it down.
Yeah, I've been snowed in here in Buffalo the past couple days, and I really basically started it yesterday morning, and I've just been playing a ton of it. Partially because I had to get a review done, but also because I wanted to, and also because I had free time to fill, but also because I wanted to. So yeah, it was like early on, I was kind of like, oh man, I don't know if like the jumping and the combat really hold up to like how good this game looks, but like it really like won me over, and I got used to like kind of the feel of it, and I feel pretty good about it.
Well, then I gotta know, because I personally want to know. I've been debating on this game for the past 2 weeks. $20, is this one worth picking up?
I do think it's worth. I think it's well worth picking up. I was on the slow side of going through the levels, but because it rates you at the end of each level, like you get like a bronze, silver, gold, and man, I feel like my time rating was always fucking bronze as fuck, and that was,
you were getting aluminum.
Yeah, I mean, it was taking me in most levels like 10 and upwards of like 15-20 minutes to get through them sometimes. I don't think they're meant to be that long, but they're sizable levels. And when you have 20 some of them, like, I mean, just do the math there. That's going to take you like a good number of hours to get through, and especially if you have other people to play through. Like, it's a 4-player game. I do not, but I imagine it would be a lot of fun with more people around, and like, yeah, just like the look of it, like the scope of what they have here, I think is well worth a $20 purchase.
Awesome. Sounds good. So I will be picking this one up this weekend.
Yeah. I think it's really cool. I like don't see a lot of like level based, like kind of straightforward action platform, like modern ones. Usually they're edging towards like a Metroidvania style, you know. It's cool. It's good.
Awesome. Tim, it's always a pleasure having you on, chatting about these games and chatting wrestles. We're going to switch it back over to Cole and myself. So do you have any final words?
Oh, man, I've been thinking of like a mashed potato-based review scale that I need to run by you, know? And originally, I thought that like Unruly Heroes was going to be like some like lumpy potatoes. Not there's anything wrong with lumpy potatoes, but just like you made some real potatoes and there's some lumps in it. It's like, okay, they're not perfect potatoes. But really, I think they're like, it's a much better whipped mashed potato than I thought it would be. And then it's like Sphinx is like your box like fake mashed potatoes, which I might have enjoyed like 15 years ago. I'm like, this is fine. But now it's like, no, I want my own real mashed potatoes, So I'm going to workshop this and we'll see. I really thought about this way too much yesterday. I need to get out of the house. I need to get out of the house. It's like comparing how I feel about games to how I feel about mashed potatoes. Stay tuned for more.
All right. And back to us.
Yay!
Did you like that Tim was here?
Tim is a real gym dandy.
A gym dandy.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Anyway, next game to talk about is called Steamroll, developed and published by Anticto. I hope I said that right.
I hope you said it right, too.
Released January 25th on Xbox One for $10.99. Steamroll is an adventure and puzzle game with a touch of mini-golf gameplay. Help the junior engineer escape a collapsing mine by solving puzzles and shooting steam balls from your vehicle to create ramps, walls, activate triggers, blow things away, and more. Can you handle the pressure? Because Steam, get it?
Yeah.
Cole, tell us about it.
I struggled. So this is a physics puzzler, and it does have a very steampunk vibe. You play as a janitor who accidentally causes an explosion in the mines on his very first day. So now he's got to get out of the mines. But because this is steampunk themed, you can't just walk the fuck up out of these mines. So I keep wanting to use the term gyroscope, and I don't think that's right. But you essentially have a ball. Do you remember the balls in Jurassic Park where they sit in them and then they can like roll around in the
in Jurassic World?
Jurassic Park had them too.
Did they?
Yeah.
I don't remember them in Jurassic Park.
I am like 93% sure. I was a little more sure, but now you said it, I'm questioning myself. But I'm like 93% sure they were in Jurassic Park as well. But anyway, basically you sit in something like that. Gyrosphere. That's the word I was looking for. I don't know why I kept wanting to say gyroscope.
Because you're crazy.
Because I've had a lot of drugs. I apologize.
Ain't even April yet.
Nope. But it's a gyrosphere, and you can basically sit in it. It's very steampunked out, though. It functions. Look, no time. We're not friends anymore. Don't agree with Joe. They were totally whatever they were. Telling you the head's little hamster balls. Anyway,
speaking of dicks.
Speaking of gyrospheres, it's a steampunk inspired game. You can't just have a plastic ball. This is metaled the fuck out. It uses steam to power it, obviously, because steampunk. And you need to navigate with the gyrosphere to get out of the mines. There's two different gameplay mechanics at work in Steamroll. One being that you are rolling around in your gyrosphere, and this is important for navigating the levels. You have to be able to manage the steam that you have, because you can run the fuck out and not be able to get out. But also there's a mechanic where you dock your gyrosphere, and then you can actually shoot steam balls. This just gets to start sounding really weird. I'm sorry. It's so hard to explain it without it just sounding fucked up. So
that's an interesting concept.
It really is. By the way, the gyrosphere is called a Ekkebus. So I finally found it down at the bottom of my notes. I was like, I know I have the name of this in here somewhere. It's a Ekkebus. So you dock your Ekkebus, and you shoot steam balls. And this is kind of like a mini golf gameplay mechanic. But it's also where the puzzle side of it comes in the most, because you're going to be trying to shoot these steam balls, and you're going to need them to hit different switches to open doors or to disable traps and stuff, so that you can navigate through these levels. And you have to consider how much pressure you're going to use when you shoot them, and also the path that they're going to take, so that they actually land in places that's useful for you. But then it's not just, shoot the steam ball and that's that. As you progress, different options for these steam balls become available. So you can add things to them to change the way that they react in the world. You can add explosives so that they blow up. So if you've got a level where there's rocks in your path and you need to be able to get past them, shoot a steam ball that's got a bomb in it, blow it the fuck up, carry on. You can't just be all sporadic with it, though. It's not like golf where you can just keep shooting balls and hope until you eventually get one. You only have a set number of steam balls at the start of each level. You don't always have access to explosives when you need them. You may need to find them in a box, or you may need to, you may be in a situation where there aren't any walls to bounce your steam balls off of. So you have to pick up balls that have the wall mechanic.
Balls with walls.
Balls with walls. And then actually launch the steam ball to an area where it will set up a wall, and then launch another steam ball to bounce off of that and go toward your objective. It just gets absolutely insane, but it also gets incredibly difficult, and you will be restarting from the last checkpoint a lot.
Yeah.
I really struggled, and I tend to think of myself as somebody, maybe I think too highly of myself, but I think, puzzle game, I got this. No, I don't. This is hard. I will say I think that the difficulty scales well, but it just already starts out of the gate fucking hard.
It does. And most of the achievements are tied to getting 3 stars or completing all 3 objectives in a stage.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get many achievements.
No, not unless you really are A, extremely good at physics shit, or be really dedicated to the cause.
Yeah, practice a lot.
I mean, it's just gonna be a time sink if you're gonna sit there. And I remember I opened it and I was like, well, that's not very many achievements. And then I started playing it and I was like, boy, have I made a mistake in my life. And
I haven't earned many achievements.
Like, yeah. The game is fun. The idea is really cool, but it's definitely difficult. And that's something you need to go into it knowing.
Well, then $11, what do you think?
I do still give it a try. I think that, as long as you know that you're going into something that the difficulty is already up there and that this is going to challenge you, you're going to be fine with that. But, if you look at it and go, I don't like puzzles and I don't like challenges, then just maybe don't. But at its price, for the right market, the people that would enjoy it, it's definitely worth it.
Nice. I do want to chime in with one quick thing. I dabbled with this game a little bit, and I don't know if the developers didn't have an Xbox One X when they were developing it, and they never played it in 4K, but on my X, the text is ungodly small.
Oh, is it?
It is incredibly hard to read.
It's not a problem on the S. I will say that. So I don't know.
I know Vala, Vicious Assault Llama Apocalypse, I think that's what it was called.
Yeah.
That had the same issue where the text in it was incredibly tiny, and they didn't have an X to actually test the game on. So when I sent them a picture of what it looked like, they're like, wow, that is really, really small. So I don't know if Anticto doesn't have an X that they can test this out on or check it out on, but it might be worth looking into getting one and seeing the text size on there, because it is very, very small.
Yeah. Yeah, that's important then, because it's the text is very important.
Yeah. And shout out to No Time for dropping 246 biddies, which means only one thing.
Dropping bits!
Yeah, buddy.
GG.
I'm looking forward to bit drops so much more now that I have these sound clips to play.
I think at this point you're gonna see your biddy to refitty the shitty can pity go up exponentially just because people want to hear that.
People just want to hear the dropping bits.
They're gonna want to see which of the four they get as well.
Oh, man. Anyway, next game to talk about is called Jack Quest, The Tale of the Sword, developed by NX Games, published by Blowfish Studios, released January 24th on Xbox One, Switch, PS4, and Steam for $9.99. A fast-paced action fantasy platformer, Jack Quest wastes no time with its quick combat and steady progression, guiding players through a single interconnected world full of secrets, collectibles, gems, hidden challenges. They're sure to keep completionists engaged for hours on end. Cole, tell us about it.
So this is a 2D platformer with Metroidvania aspects. See, I'm getting better with the genres, even though sometimes I don't know them. So you play as a character named Jack, and Jack has taken his longtime friend Nara to a romantic overlook, and he's about to finally confess his love to her, and she instead insists on interrupting and playing him a magical song first. And while she's playing this song, shit hits the fan. A giant hand lurches out of the ground, pulls Nara into the pit of a cave. Jack, of course, goes leaping in to save his love interest, and that's where we start. He's in the cave. You have the ability to single jump when you start, and you do not have any kind of weapon, which seems like a really dumb way to launch yourself into a cave that's just eaten your hopeful girlfriend. But it doesn't take long for players to actually run into Kuro, and Kuro is a talking sword, a giant ass talking sword,
massive talking sword,
even bigger than Jack himself. And my cat just jumped down onto my desk and made a big racket.
Meow.
Go. So you have He's like wants to
Dropping
stop.
cats.
He just stops right in front of the monitor, and I'm like, dude, I can't even see my notes.
Meow, bitches, as Doc Havoc says.
That's basically, if Gabe could talk, that's what he'd say. So now Jack, armed with Kuro has his own reasons for wanting. First, he's a talking sword, so seriously, some shit has gone down to put him in that situation. So he has his own reasons for wanting to get out of the cave, and he actually tells Jack, "Take me with you, and I'll help you tear shit up, and we'll save your love interest and get the fuck out of here." So that's what you do. Jack takes Kuro, and he's armed with the big ass sword, and you're gonna hack and slash your way through these caves. The monsters that you're gonna encounter in the cave are a little on the generic side. You're gonna run into bats, you're gonna run into spiders, you're gonna run into slimes, you're gonna hack them, you're gonna get some coins, and you're gonna carry on. One of my biggest complaints is that everything in the cave looks the same, and it's very easy to get lost. And because there's the Metroidvania aspect, you can miss out on a whole lot of areas just because you can't tell if you've gone back there or not. There's not really anything to guide you. That is probably my second biggest complaint, to be fair. My other complaint is that while the save points are forgivingly located, they're just fucking everywhere, which is wonderful, but health is not quite as forgiving with this game, and it's really a damn shame. You can collect coins, and there are shops littered around, and you can buy health potions, but damage takes half a heart, and you start the game with just 2 hearts, so 4 hits and you're done for. Damage takes a half a heart, and a health potion only heals half a heart. But a health potion costs 100 coins, and right before the first boss, I still only had like 30 coins, and that was after just slaughtering everything in my path that I could possibly access. It got to a point where I was saving next to some boxes that would respawn every time I reloaded. So I would spawn, smash the boxes, get the coins, jump into a pit, spawn, smash the boxes, get the coins, jump into a pit. And I was saving every time before I would kill myself. That way my coins would still be there. And I would gradually just grind my way up until I had enough to buy 1 health potion.
That's crazy.
It was absolutely awful. And then if something happened and I took so much as 1 hit before I even got to the boss, I had to just scrap it. I wasn't going to be able to do it. I'd just go get some coins and let myself die and do it again. And because that was really just the best you could hope for. Now, in addition to carrying Kuro, you can also carry one other item, which is usually going to be a health potion. If you're fortunate enough to find enough of them laying around that you can have a spare. But if you either buy one or you find one and you have it in holding, the moment you get hit, that health potion drops out of that slot and falls down into the world, and you have to go collect it. If you don't get to it fast enough, then you lose it.
Yeah. Which
means you pay a whole lot of coins for something that might not do you any good if you can't actually get to it. This is during regular gameplay, there's not enough enemies for this to be a problem. But during boss fights, this was a fucking nightmare. Like, you could be sitting there laying into the boss, and then you take a hit, and your health potion drops, but the boss is still in that area, so you can't even go get it.
And it disappears on you.
And so you've just wasted your coins, and you've wasted, the health. So
Hooray.
You're double fucked. One thing that I wish that they would do is make it so that when you hit a save point, it heals you.
That would be nice.
I think that would make a huge difference in the difficulty. And if they wanted to leave it like this as a hardcore mode, they could do that and that'd be fine. Just maybe, make it more of an assisted mode or something where it gives you just the health whenever you hit it, a save. It could even just be like a one-time boost as you save, and then not do it if you save, because you can keep resaving in the same stones over and over. And you can also
make it so it's only the first time that you save.
The first time you hit it, it gives you the health boost. That would be perfectly fine. But as it is, just the health just makes the difficulty
way too much.
And it's out of bounds. Like, it doesn't feel like it syncs up with the rest of the game, because the rest of the game is not that difficult. And I actually enjoy the difficulty level of the game itself beyond just the health aspect of it. Like, if I just wasn't dying so goddamn much, it'd be a lot better experience. And even if you don't want to give it so that the stones give you health, then lower the price of the health potions or increase how many you can carry. But the health as it's in its current state, it's just a nightmare, because the rest of the game is functions perfectly. It's not going to be life altering or super memorable or anything, but when you're playing it, it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
And just the constant death takes that away.
Well, then overall, $10. What do you think?
At $10, I give it a try it. And I really hope that the devs listen as far as the health aspect goes.
Just rebalance it.
Just think about it a little. Because I would really like to spend more time with the game.
Instead of grinding for health potions.
Instead of just constantly spawning and dying so that I can get a few coins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, one final game to talk about tonight that is called 39 Days to Mars, developed and published by It's Anecdotal, releasing February 6th on Xbox One for $14.99. Embark on the 19th century's most unreliable spaceship in this two-player couch co-op adventure. 39 Days to Mars is a unique game designed to be played with a friend where both players have important roles in the expedition. Solo players are aided by the computer-controlled ship's cat. I tried playing this solo with the cat, and it drove me crazy trying to do some of these puzzles, so I'm hoping it fared better in two-player mode.
It does. It definitely does. I actually played it both ways, because that's how I roll.
Yeah, I didn't have anyone to play with, and it just trying to solve some of these puzzles was maddening by myself.
Yeah. So if you're playing it solo, basically if you imagine a controller broken in half, and your left thumbstick and your left bumper and your left trigger control the cat, and your right thumbstick and bumper and trigger control. If you're playing solo, you have just Sir Albert Wykes. And if you're playing it co-op, then your buddy Clarence Baxter goes along with you for the trip to Mars. Which I think is kind of funny, because they throw Clarence under the bus when you're playing solo. It's like, why he doesn't go with you. But it's a lot of fun. But it's definitely a difficult game to play. Even in a co-op situation, you still have to really talk with your partner to get through these puzzles. One of the ones that stands out is one of the first puzzles you do, where you have to put together the map.
Oh, God.
And yeah, in theory, this sounds like it's so easy. It's like, okay, it's a shredded up map, and you just got to piece it back together like a puzzle. And it's fine. It's easy enough. If you're playing it solo, you're using one hand to hold the piece and the other hand to rotate the pieces so that you can get them orientated right. If you're playing with another person, one person is holding the pieces and the other is rotating them. But there's a physics, this is the week of physics games, I don't know. But there's a physics aspects to this as well, because you can be moving the pieces around, and if they bump into each other, they kind of scatter. And it's an absolute nightmare when you're trying to talk to somebody and be like, okay, hold this piece and rotate it, and like they're trying to rotate, but they're hitting the other pieces and sending them flying, that you sit there and carefully, you can tell what happened when I played with number one, can't you?
Yes.
You're like carefully organize the pieces down at the bottom, which is a struggle in and of itself, because in all reality, it's difficult to control these, even when you have the whole controller to yourself. It's just really difficult to move these hands around. I feel like in one regard, I want to say they could have upped the sensitivity on them a little more, because that tends to be how I play. I crank the sensitivity up as high as I can on everything. But on the other hand, I think, boy, if they upped the sensitivity, you'd be knocking shit around a lot more. So it probably wouldn't have been a good idea. I don't know how to recommend they balance the sensitivity with the precision aspect. I don't know that you could. Shit's just gonna get knocked around on the screen. But it's one of those situations where it sounds like it's frustrating and like it's difficult to move these pieces, and you have to talk it out, and everybody has to plan what they're going to do and how they're going to move. But it's surprisingly fun and enjoyable while you're doing it. One of my favorite puzzles is, and I know I was reading a lot of people were complaining these puzzles were mundane, but neither of these characters will solve anything unless they've had tea and scones. And so you just, like, whenever something's broken, they're like, well, I can't solve this on an empty stomach. Let's go have a scone. And every time that you do those mini game puzzles, you will have a list of like how they want their tea or how they want their scone. So it'll be like, I only want a half a scone with a little bit of jam and a lot of butter. And so this is where the physics comes in again, because you have to like pick up a butter knife to pick up some of the butter and the jam and put it on top of the scone, but you've got to take the top half off because he only wants the bottom half. Or if you're making tea, then you've got, the hot kettle, but no, he wants warm tea today. So you have to add some milk so that it cools it down. And it's frustrating, but it's funny at the same time, because I was sitting there playing with number one, and I'm literally just yelling, why is there so much butter and why can't I keep it on the knife? It was just incredibly difficult to do, but not to the point that you hate it.
Yeah.
It's like and then when you finally do succeed, you feel so victorious, and then you realize that there's still the whole actual problem to solve. You just made a bagel. Keep going, bitch. You haven't even touched the difficult stuff yet. You still got to go solve a leak in the steam pipes that power your little homemade spaceship, or you still got to come up with the solution to the password so that you can even get a key. It's absolutely insane. And yet it's incredibly enjoyable. I love that it's so quirky. It's got the absolute best art style. Everything looks like it's sketched on vintage paper with this like sepia tone, and it's inked, and it's just all very whimsical and weird with a little bit of Victorian steampunk thrown into it. And it's just incredibly fucking charming.
Well, then $15 on it. What do you think?
This is a buy it. This was probably my favorite game this week. I
Big
absolutely
words.
loved it. Yeah, it really, because it's, I tend to pick a favorite each week, and this was definitely mine for this week.
I was expecting you to go with Animal Super Squad for your game of the week.
I know, you'd think that as much as I love chickens, that would be a big one. But no, I loved the puzzle aspect, and I loved how challenging this was. And I like that even though it was difficult to play it solo, it was still doable to play it solo.
Yeah.
You weren't just completely locked out if you didn't have somebody with you. Like, you could take your time and figure it out and do it on your own, too.
Cool. Well, that is it for this episode.
Yay!
Hooray. It was a fun one. It's always good having Kris on here, despite how combative he was about the whole fucking Epic Store thing.
I can't say I see his point as far as like Steam having a monopoly. And
I totally agree on that.
Down.
I just think it was
But everything else
how they handled it.
Everything else he was wrong about.
He's wrong about everything. Fuck him. He's not here to defend himself.
Hashtag fuck Kris.
I can't believe it's been 6 years that I'm doing this show.
Here's the 6 more.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to live that long.
Yeah, you are. Look here. You ever try to die and my fat ass will be hobbling up there with my cane, like smacking you on the chest going, no, somebody's got to give me coats.
I'm so glad it's not me that you're going to miss. It's the free games.
Honesty's the best policy, Joe.
Oh, shit. Anyway, music for this episode. Since he did our new theme song, we're going to play some Viking guitar. I love my Viking guitar stuffs. Do you have any final words to end the episode?
No, not this week. I don't. No, fuck off.